Chat, there's a cat at my door. Chat, there's a cat. There's a cat. Alright, hang on, let me get situated. Oh, what did I just do? Alright, let me turn this down a little. Professional streamer right here. Professional streamer. Okay. Chat's good. Let me post about this, and then we'll get started. What just happened? Why is YouTube doing that? What's going on here? Live reading through. Hi, Party Hat. How you doing? Give novel. Oh. Made by. Boop. And then I'm gonna do this here. One sec. Live reading through. Not. I almost typed reading through FNaF 34. That would have been a different stream. Okay. Hi, Party Hat. How you doing? There's a cat at the door. Should I see who it is real quick before we get started? Okay, Jesus. I'm doing good. I'm doing good. I'm gonna go see which cat is trying to break down my door.
Hi! You wanna come in? Okay. Come on in here.
There's a cat. There's a kitty cat. There's a kitty cat. Come. Jump. No, not on me. Up here. On the bed. Uh-oh. Hi, Ashley. Chat. Kitty! Say hi. Say hi. Say hi, honey. I'm gonna put you up there, okay? Just because I don't want you climbing at me. Alright, my fellow FNaF LARPers. We've got a stream today. If you remember last stream, we read through my sister location interactive novel. Me and BJ finished writing the FNaF 4 one. I don't remember if you guys were there whenever we read through that on a previous stream. I'm not liking that background music. Yeah, we read through part of it on a different stream. Today we're going through the full thing. Not the full thing. It's a lot of pages. The sister location interactive novel was 90 pages. This one's 140, which I'm very proud of how this came out. I know BJ is too. We really poured our soul into this. So I'm gonna give it like another minute or so, and then we'll get started. Same thing like last time. We'll do polls in chat to see what you guys want. Once again, chat's showing up on the side. BJ, hi, speak of the devil. BJ is my co-author. We wrote this together. BJ, I want to say you did an amazing job. I'm so proud of how this turned out. You should be too. Yeah. Party Hat's writing their interactive novel while watching this. What's it about, if you don't mind me asking? I'm looking forward to this. Yeah. I'm sure you guys are gonna love this. Hey, chat thought my sister location one was pretty good. I think that was pretty bad compared to the FNaF 4 one, so you guys should love this. This one's good. Honestly, one of my favorite things I've ever written. So that. All right, I'm gonna put on some FNaF 4 background music, and we'll get started. I'm looking forward to this. Also, once this stream is over, I'm probably gonna release this just as a book. I know I talked to BJ about it, so he's on board, I hope. I wanted to do like a stream on it first, just to catch any errors. I know we did a read through last night, but you never know. And to see if chat has any suggestions. Pianosaurus from Poppy Playtime. I'm going to be honest, the only thing I know about Pianosaurus is that he was an Easter egg in Chapter 5. That's the only thing I know about him. We'll do this one. Use your favorite character. My favorite Poppy Playtime character is Huggy Wuggy, because he's a Fortnite skin. Alright, I'm not sitting through 30 seconds of ad. There we go. Alright, chat. Let's begin. You shared... Oh. BJ. Thank you, man. Thank you. Alright. Let me know if the audio is good. It should be. Should be. There we go. Alright. Chat. Five Nights at Freddy's. The Big Bite. An interactive novel. He got done dirty in Chapter 4. I know nothing about Poppy Playtime. I'm just being honest. Actually, right off the bat, I think I don't know how we forgot this. I think we should include, like, the author names. My God. BJ, I'll leave it like this for now. Once the stream's over, before I publish this, I'll make this look fancier. But yeah, I'm glad I caught that, because it would make sense if we're co-authors. We should show that. All right, chat. Let's begin. Intro. You are Garrett, the middle child of a dysfunctional family. Every day, you're scolded by your father, ignored by your mother, overshadowed by your new baby sister, and constantly bullied by your mean older brother, Mike. You find comfort and escape in the cast of Fredbear and Friends, often being accompanied by your best and closest friend, a plushie of the show's mascot, Fredbear. It also helps that you're within walking distance of Fredbear's Family Diner, the flagship restaurant owned by your father and surrogate uncle. There's just one problem. You're deathly afraid of the animatronic performers at the restaurant because of something traumatic you saw. Something so traumatic that you haven't dared speak of it. And Mike knows this. It's for this reason, as well as general teenage angst, that he torments you. Now, with your 7th birthday party coming up in a week, being held at Fredbear's, you'll do anything to escape the clutches of the monsters from your nightmares, as well as your brother. Click here to begin. 5 days until the party. What did he do this time? You hear... I gotta do a voice for him. What did he do... What did he do this time? I'll do my normal voice. What did he do this time? You hear the voice of your Fredbear plushie speaking to you. It sits next to you in your bed. Its voice, understanding, gets stern. He locked you in your room again. Don't be scared. I am here with you. Hesitantly, you get off your bed. The door is closed, and you're left alone with the eerie silence of your bedroom. The usual humming of the ventilation is accompanied by distant cars zooming by in the background. I think that's what this background is. I think this is the right one. I think it is. It's only one page, but it's cinema. Thank you, Party Hat. Thank you. You're too kind. No, this is the one I was thinking of for this day. You stand in the middle of your room, carefully deciding where to go. Alright, chat. First poll. Do we walk over to the door? Do we walk over to the plushies? Or do we walk over to the window? What does chat think? Actually, I'm going to go full screen for a sec, just so I can check something. BJ, I'll retweet your tweet too, while you guys are doing that. Alright, looks like door... Ooh, it's a tie. Yeah, it's a tie. Well, I guess this means we're doing the plushies then. FNaF 4 door. Alright, we'll do door. We will do door. The door. D-O-R-E. If you walk over to your door, click here. Okay. Did I just do something? I don't think I did. You walk over to the door and try turning the knob. It's locked. You bang on the door, hesitant at first. As your banging continues, you feel a familiar pain and anguish fill your body. Soon, you give up. Turning around to face the rest of your room. Your window is straight ahead, and you can partially see outside. The sun shines brightly as it rises in the morning. You like sitting outside, listening to cars speed past on the road, and playing with the neighborhood kids scattered along the walk between your house and the restaurant. It's almost like an escape for you. Being outside keeps you safe from the terrors within the walls. Or at least, that's what you tell yourself. You look to your right at the corner of the room, where the rest of your plushies are stuffed together. All 4 of them are there. Freddy, Bonnie, Chica, and, well, what used to be Foxy. You accidentally ripped Foxy's head off after trying to get it back from your sister. Though you don't mind so much anymore. Foxy wasn't your favorite anyway. Not after... You turn around and rush back to your bedroom door, hoping that this time it'll budge. You frantically fight the doorknob, trying to use what little strength you have to force it open. It doesn't do much. Finally, you give up, falling to the ground. You retreat into a ball and let the tears flow. Under your tears, you're pretty sure you can hear the faint laughter of your brother from the other side of the door. Tomorrow is another day. Click here to continue. One day down, chat! I'm gonna change the background music just so it fits the scene, you know. We want it to, you know. This is the immersive Bernie Bear interactive novel experience. So let me do that. Let me do that. Alright. I think audio levels are might be a little loud. Alright. Chat, we've got a thunderstorm. Yes. Alright, we've got a thunderstorm. Boop. 4 days until the party. Boom! You're woken from your nap by the startling sound of a loud thunderclap outside your house. You sit up and look outside the window. It's raining. Although it doesn't rain much, you always enjoy it when it does. The comforting sound of the raindrops hitting your window, combined with the smell of wet soil, makes you feel oddly at peace. Sure, you could do without the dark skies and cold winds, but you're able to look past those. Not to mention when it stops raining. The bright colors of a rainbow fill the sky, along with the warmth and energy of the sun, and a brief happiness fills your heart. W party hat. You snap out of your daydream and look to the right. That's the left to your right. The door to your room is open slightly. You're a bit confused. You're not used to waking up with your door unlocked, let alone open. You have always tried to find escape in your bedroom, which would become a nightmare when Mike would lock the door, trapping you inside. But seeing it open, even slightly, felt worse because it was so unusual. What was Mike up to this time? You lean forward a bit, allowing you to see into the hallway. No sign of Mike, yet. You cautiously get out of bed and go to the door, peeking outside to try and find your brother. Not noticing anything threatening, you slowly exit your room, standing in the middle of the hallway. In front of you is a grandfather clock. To your left is the living room, and to your right is your sister's room. You pause for a second to decide where to go next. Alright, Chathias, are we going to the living room? Are we going to Elizabeth's room? Or are we going to check out the grandfather clock? Oh no, don't tell me we're lagging. Stream pause for anyone else? Oh no. I think we're good. It doesn't... Also, did I forget to go to desktop view? Did I? I don't know. Anyway. Audiobook. I think we're fine. Oh, you're back. Okay. Sister's room 1. We're going to Elizabeth's room. You turn right, entering your sister's room. The walls are a cool white, and a single window is on the wall opposite the door. Your sister's crib sits in the corner, with a chair next to it and a lamp illuminating the wall behind it. A painting of a flower sits above the crib, and sloppy crayon drawings are hung up on the wall beside it. The room is a bright contrast to the rest of the house. It makes sense, though. Mom was so excited to have another girl in the house, so she went all out on decorating. All out on decorating. On the floor of her room are a bunch of toys scattered everywhere. Blocks, plushies, and dolls. But one toy stands out among the rest. It's your sister's favorite. You're honestly a little surprised she didn't bring it with her when Mom dropped her off at daycare earlier. Alright, chat. Are we examining the toy, or are we leaving the room? Kind of feels like cheating, having BJ here. Bro knows everything. Examine the toy is winning. I can't get my water to close. Alright, we're gonna examine this bad boy. Oh, oh. You walk towards the toy. It's a pink and white foxy that's been ripped apart by your sister's brute toddler strength. You remember Uncle Hen called it Funtime Foxy, or something like that. Dad didn't really care what it was called. He was just happy to give something to your sister to keep her occupied. And to sell more toys to kids. Kids love Foxy. Except for you, apparently. As you get closer to the toy, you hear small mechanical noises coming from its inside. Hesitantly, you bring your hand towards its mouth until... Bang! Thunder from outside is accompanied by a flash of lightning from the window. The toy is gone, and you feel a strange sense of dread come upon you. Just then... Hi, Moon. I recognize you from the stream yesterday. Hello. The toy is gone, yeah. Just then, you hear a loud slam behind you. The door is shut. You rush over to try to open it, but it's locked. Was this Mike, or someone else? Mike! You exclaim fiercely. Let me out! No response. Please, Mike! You feel something small fall from the ceiling and land in your hair. You grab it and look at it. Pink and white. Looking up at the ceiling, you see the toy Foxy hanging from the light in the room. Not like hanging by like a noose, just like... Yeah. It leaps down onto your face, and the last thing you hear is what sounds like a little girl's high-pitched giggling as everything goes dark. Game over. Chat, the first game over. We did it. Mango. Alright, let's... Hi, Glitch. Oh, dude, we're getting the Sigmas now. Not that you guys who are already here aren't Sigmas. Alright. New poll. Are we going to examine the grandfather clock, or are we going into the living room? It's oomph. It's oomph. Oomph. Moon, I gotta follow you on Twitter. Remind me to do that. It's a tie. Oh, living room won. Oh, it's a tie. Alright, living room it is. Living room it is. Also, the reason I'm kind of like speeding through the polls is just because I don't want to wait like 20 minutes on one. Because there's a lot of pages here. You enter the living room. The lights are off, and the only light comes in from the window. Cautiously, you take a few steps into the room. The TV is against the wall, opposite the front door. A single couch sits in front of it. When he's not tormenting you or hanging out with friends, Mike likes to sit on the couch and watch soap operas. You recently caught him watching one about a vampire and some angry woman, although he would never admit it when you asked him about it. Surely if Mike was here, he would have scared you by now, right? You take a few more steps into the dark. You figure you have the house to yourself for once. Maybe you can finally catch up on Fredbear and Friends? One of the few good things about Mike was that he taught you how to record episodes in case you missed them, so you can watch them later. We do not have the bonus item, so we try to watch TV. Alright, BJ, next interactive novel we do. We have to include Arnold in there. Spent so much on Ubers today. Glitch, you're broke! You can't be you can't be spending money on Ubers. Sorry to out you like that, but man, you can't be spending money on Ubers. Oh, Secret of the Mimic VR. Oh, don't get me started on that. Don't get me started on that party hat. Walking up to the TV, you go to turn it on when, bang! Mike jumps out from behind the TV, accompanied by the loud, startling sound of thunder, because it's raining outside. You can't see his face, since he's wearing the same bright red Foxy mask that he won at Fall Fest a few years ago. He loves Foxy, and he knows how much you don't, so he usually wears that mask whenever he decides to torment you. Do I do a British voice for him? Ha ha! Mike exclaims while pointing and laughing at you. You should have seen the look on your face. I can't do a British accent. As he continues laughing, you remain on the floor, curled up in a ball. The tears begin to flow as you listen to the rain get louder and louder. Tomorrow is another day. Mike voice. We gotta get Glitch in here. He's actually British. He does a good Edwin impression. Alright, back to the regular FNaF 4 background music. Because it's not raining anymore. 3 days until the party. You lay on the cold, hard ground of Fredbear's family diner, curled up in a ball and crying. You were supposed to spend the day there with Mike, but plans changed. He left without you. The comforting voice of your Fredbear plushie speaks to you. He knows that you hate it here. You are right beside the exit. If you run, you can make it. Hurry, run towards the exit. Decent-ish, no. That was Glitch. You can be honest. That was terrible. I'm not doing it again. You wipe away the tears that are running down your cheeks and stand up. You know what he's saying is true, but at the same time, you know you don't have the strength to get out on your own, right? All right, chat. Do we look for Papa? Do we look for another exit? Or do we just try to run to the main exit? Hi, FNC. My fellow former prop collector. Oi, Dave, can you fetch me the old bottle of water? What? Bottle of what? Bottle of water. Look for Dad's winning with 6-7 votes. 6-7. Alright. Someone should make a theory on that. Another. Bro. No. Get out of here. Get out of here, Glitch. Get out of here. We're gonna look for another way out. Which is good, because this has something that changed since the last time you guys saw this. There has to be another way out. You look around the diner and come across a small, dark hallway. Gathering all your courage, you enter the hallway. The hallway has many doors leading to places you can only imagine. One of the doors has several yummy smells coming from it. That must be the kitchen. Soon enough, you spot a big gray door with a sign on it. I don't know why I'm laughing. The sign is too high up for you to read, but you hope it says exit. Directly across from the door are large red double doors. You hear sounds coming from that room, although you can't make out what they are. Could this be the exit? After all, the doors to enter the diner are red, so surely the doors to exit the diner are red too. Purple guy! Alright, chat. Do we go through the gray doors or the red doors? Gray door, red doors. I'll say this. Before anyone votes, the gray door option is different from the last time you guys saw it. Whenever I did that preview a few streams ago, it's changed since then. It's changed a lot. So just factor that into your vote. Red doors, I don't remember if we did that, but alright, good. Gray door's winning. Good. Good job. Good job, chat. You guys chose correctly. Good job. I'm proud. I'm proud of you. 6, 7. Alright, let's go through the gray door. This is new. You guys haven't seen this yet. Well, except you, BJ. You helped me write this. You decide to go through the gray door. After all, it can't be worse than being in a dark hallway, where you're probably not supposed to be anyway, so what's the worst that can happen? You can never go wrong with a red door. Don't worry, Moon. Once we're done with this route, we'll go back and do that, because the scene, the ending you get from going through the red doors is one of mine and BJ's favorite parts of this, so we'll absolutely go back for it. Entering the room, you find yourself in what seems to be a very messy office. Papers and files are scattered along the floor. Newspapers are hung along the walls. Why am I laughing? A row of lockers sits on the wall furthest to the door. 2 gray steel desks sit on opposite sides of the room, both complete with spinny chairs and desk lamps. Cautiously, you walk further into the room, and the door closes behind you. You notice that one of the desks is neater than the other and has a computer on top of it. The other desk has what appears to be blueprints on it, because blueprints is just one word, I think, like singular. You figure that since Mike most likely won't be coming back for you for a while, it wouldn't hurt to look around. Alright, chat. Are we going to look at the newspapers? I already forgot the other ones. Right. Are we checking out the computer? Or are we checking out the blueprints? Yeah, this part's another one of my favorites. It is. Yeah, grammar's hard. Blueprints is... because there's no such thing as the word blueprint. Well, no, there is. But in this context, blueprints is a singular word, so it would be appears instead of appear. And it's a three-way tie, dang it. Alright, we need someone to be a deciding factor. Alright, someone voted newspapers, thank you. Alright. Alright, we're checking out the newspaper. Oh yeah. You decide to look at the newspapers on the wall. Thankfully, they're low enough to the ground where you can read them. Although the dingy lighting in the room makes it hard to make out what some of them are saying. You're able to make out one in particular. Local Halloween festival canceled. Tragedy struck the town of New Harmony late last night when a fire broke out at the site of this year's Fall Fest. Although exact details are unknown, police and other officials believe the fire began around midnight and went on for several hours before being put out by the local fire department. While new details are still emerging, one casualty has been reported so far. Full of giggles today. Fiona Murray, wife of Murray's Costume Manor owner Edwin Murray, whose body was found in the festival's wooden barn where the fire broke out. The sentence is a little awkward, I might change that. Investigators believe she died from smoke inhalation. The young entrepreneurs behind Fall Fest refused to comment on the tragedy, but confirmed exclusively to us that they would have to cancel this year's festival due to the event. Be on the lookout for more details in the coming weeks about the future of this town's favorite seasonal event. Yeah, I want to change this line. It's a little awkward. While new details are still emerging, one casualty has been reported so far. Fiona Murray, wife of Murray's Costume Manor owner Edwin Murray. I guess that works. I just read it weirdly. Alright. There was a fire at Fall Fest? How come you've never heard about this before? Before you can read any more, you hear footsteps approaching the door you entered the room from. You need to hide. The giggle monster. Yeah, I don't know. Just... bro's ticklish. The festival fell. Holy peak. This festival fell. Yeah, no, I like this. It's a little awkward in the wording department, but, you know. Alright, chat. Where are we hiding? Are we going to hide in the lockers, or are we going to hide under a desk? Why am I so silly? Why am I so silly? Something about women dying in fires is funny to you. No. Lockers never let me down. Alright, we'll go to the lockers. I hope they're not contagious. Dude, I don't know what... I only got like 5 hours of sleep last night. That might be it. Me and BJ were up until like midnight cooking on this. Alright, we're going to the lockers. Game over. You bolt to the lockers and open the nearest one. Thankfully, it's empty. You climb inside and are just barely able to see through the tiny slivers at the top. Someone walks in. Your limited view makes it difficult for you to tell who it is, only that it's a man wearing overalls and is around your uncle's height. He sits down at the computer and types something. A document comes up on the screen, and he says something to himself before grabbing an object out of the desk and leaving. The door is open. Now is your chance to escape. You try pushing the locker open, but it's no use. The locker is stuck. You try wiggling around for a few seconds to try to kick the locker open, but your weight in the locker causes it to tip over and fall face first to the ground. Uh-oh. You hope the sound was loud enough that the man comes rushing back in and saves you, but alas, he never returns. You're slowly running out of oxygen, and before you know it, your time will run out. The only thing you can do now is wait. Game over. Yeah. Alright, we're gonna go back to the spoilers. I want to show everything in this route. We'll come back to that one. Next, let's check out the computer. We're checking out the computer next. You make your way over to the computer. It's large and heavy, and plugged into an outlet on the wall. You boot it up, and are met with a fuzzy green light. The words, "Welcome, Henry," fill the screen before it prompts you for a password. We do not have the password. You can't think of anything to type in for the password, so you type in the first thing that comes to your mind. You type Eggs Benedict, a product that's served at the restaurant as a special. It was added to the menu as an alternative for kids who don't like pizza. Wait, who doesn't like pizza? The computer screen flashes red with the words, "Access denied," as you begin hearing footsteps approaching the office. You quickly shut the computer off and jump out of the chair, looking for someplace to hide. Same options, yeah. What else? Now let's check out the blueprints. All of these routes lead to the man walking in, and it gives us the options to hide, so I'm just going through these first just so you guys can see them, because they deserve to be shared. Tails Games route next. Justice for Tails. I'd be giggling like crazy. If this was me, I would be giggling, and I would give myself away. You decide to look at the blueprint. You decide to look at the blueprints on one of the desks. Most of them are for characters you recognize from Fall Fest. A dog, an alligator, and other various animals. But one blueprint stands out among the rest. It's for a character you don't recognize. Their design is different from the others in that it's just a really rough sketch, looking like it was drawn by a child. The drawing is of a giant clown with red hair and white skin. It has blue eyes and is wearing a red skirt and red shoes. Above the drawing is a name, Circus Baby. There are also notes written off to the side of the drawing. Star of Circus Baby's Party World, name work in progress. Faceplates for easy repair and cleaning. Ice cream dispenser? Just then you hear footsteps approaching the door to the room you're in. You throw the blueprints back down onto the desk and look for a place to hide. So this is cool. I like this. BJ, was it you or me who came up with the baby blueprints? I don't remember which one of us did that. Yeah, this is cool though. And like I like the detail of Circus Baby's Party World. Obviously in the games and books, it's Circus Baby's Pizza World. So I like the detail of it being a work in progress name because they're still planning it. It's a few years until babies would exist. Jackie with legs. I was actually, when I was, I think it was me who wrote this. When I was writing like the description of this, of the clown, baby, I did think, I hope people don't confuse this with Jackie, but I mean, it says baby, so never mind. Oh, it was me, okay. Yeah, I like this part. Also, dog, alligator. Who else up vengefulling they spirit right now? Alright, we're gonna hide under the desk this time. You duck down to hide under the desk closest to you. It's just barely big enough for you to fit, but you make it work. Soon enough, the door to the room swings open, and in walks Uncle Hen? This must be his and Dad's office. You think about coming out from under the desk, but decide against it. If he found out you were in here and told Dad, you would never hear the end of it. Uncle Hen sits down at the desk opposite from you and boots up the computer. He types in a password. CHARLOTTE, Charlotte, and pulls up some sort of legal document, or at least that's what it looks like from here. It's not like you have the best view from your current position. He puts his head in his hands and sighs. This is the 5th lawsuit this week, he says in a defeated tone. At this rate, I don't know how much longer we'll be able to stay open. He pauses for a second before opening up one of the drawers in the desk. Although you can't tell what it is he grabs, you recognize the smell lingering around the object. Smoke. The only reason you're able to identify the smell is due to that one time Mike came home from school smelling like smoke. Mom was furious with him when she found out, as he was only 12 at the time. Although he denied it when Mom questioned him about it, you later overheard Mike talking to himself in his room, and he said something about never losing a dare again. Cigarettes. And this is the 80s. People were a lot less careful with like smoking and stuff. So, yeah. Who's Henry? Uncle Hen stands back up and heads out the door. As he's leaving, you hear him mumble under his breath. I just need a break. This time, the door stays open, and you're able to run over and catch it before it can close. You look to your left and your right, making sure the coast is clear before you bolt back to the dining area. As soon as you enter the room, you notice that it's almost empty. Almost. From seemingly out of nowhere, Fredbear appears, scaring you so bad you fall to the ground. He offers you a slice of pizza on the house, but you're too afraid to care. As hard as you fight them, the tears start flowing, and you retreat into a ball. Tomorrow is another day. Tails. Bro's phone password is 1234. Truth. Every time he giggled in the stream. That's... Alright, I'm looking forward to seeing the counter. I'm looking forward to seeing it. Party hat. Alright, I did promise Moon that we would do the, double doors route. Let's do that. So it's find another way out. Alright, let's go through the red double doors. You push open the double doors, expecting to be met with rays of sunshine shining down onto your face. Instead, the giggle count. Instead, you're met with another room, a smaller room, with a few tables and monitors. In the center of the room are two figures being illuminated by a very dim, flickering light. One of the figures is tall, but that's about the only thing you can make out about them. Add that. The rest of the figure is covered in darkness. The other figure, however, is bulkier. Almost too bulky for any normal human. Just then, the tall figure grabs something large and places it on the head of the bulky figure. You squint, and it almost looks like bunny ears? You gulp, and the bunny figure turns around and looks at you. Its eyes glow a menacing white, and it begins to walk towards you. Your eyes widen as you force yourself out of the room. You manage to duck into the kitchen and hope it didn't follow you. Hiding behind a counter, you watch as the door swings open and the rabbit walks in. It slowly moves around the kitchen, trying to find you. You put your hands over your mouth, not daring to make a sound and draw attention to yourself. That's when you spot it. The sink. If you can turn the sink on, maybe that will draw the rabbit's attention, and you can sneak out. Carefully and quietly, you make your way to the sink. You spot the rabbit's reflection in the oven, and watch as it opens up cabinets looking for you. You crawl on the disgusting floor, and you're pretty sure you crutch a roach on your way to the sink. After what feels like an eternity, you make it to the sink. It's now or never. You stand up and reach for the sink, but the rabbit grabs you by the shoulder. Without thinking, you spray the sprayer and turn the knobs on the sink, spraying water at the rabbit. It falls to the floor, soaked in water and some other liquid you can't quite make out, before twitching and convulsing. You turn the water off and put the sprayer back. The rabbit stops moving. You stand there in shock, not completely aware of what just happened. Whatever it was, it couldn't have been good. Just then, you see the figure of a man standing in the doorway of the kitchen. It's the same man who was in the room with the rabbit earlier. He steps into the kitchen, and you're able to make out who it is. It's Dad. You run over to him, frantically explaining everything and apologizing. He grabs you by the shoulders, and you're able to get a good look at his face. He's smiling? "Oh, son," he says before pulling you in for a hug. "You were always my favorite." Game over. Yeah, I know. But yeah, this ending is one of mine and BJ's favorites. So, the rabbit is just some random employee who got suited up. He sees Bite Victim has noticed him, chases him out the room, ends up in the kitchen. He's just trying to get Bite Victim out of the kitchen because it's an employees only area. But Bite Victim kills him. He has a kill count, yes. Bite Victim has blood on his hands. Although, I don't think he knows that he killed the man. Maybe. I don't know. Yeah, this is cool. I like this. All right, let's CC out for blood. Drew! BJ, if you're still here, do you think we should just move on to the next day, or is there anything else here you want to show off to these fine folks? Because, you know, I don't want to read all 140 pages of it. I don't want to read everything. Plus, you know, gotta encourage you guys to read this on your own once I release it after the stream. Giggling. Yeah, William has a lot of characterization. The hug might be a little out of character. Same with the smiling, but, like, I like the dialogue here. You were always my favorite. That's very, like, manipulative. That lines up, like, perfectly with the FNaF 2 movie where he says, "Don't you know you're my favorite? Don't you know I love you? Don't you know I care about you?" We can move on if you'd like. The only thing we've missed out was a brief encounter on Fredbear. True. I'm gonna move on. Just cause I said so. 2 days until the party. Yes, party hat. The tea he counted. Oh, thank you, Moon. Thank you. Left alone at Fredbear's. Again. He hates you. You have to get up. You can get out this time, but you have to hurry. The words of your Fredbear plushie are encouraging, but are they enough? They weren't enough yesterday. But tomorrow is another day, or at least that's what he tells you. How can tomorrow be another day if every day feels like a never-ending nightmare? I like this line. I like that line. Enough. Yesterday was different. Today will be different. You can get out this time, but you have to hurry. Alright, chat. Do we run to the exit, or do we stay put? That's true, Glitch. That's true. That is a good point. Could be conditional love. My only counter to that, in the fourth closet, Elizabeth, you know, baby, does a lot of stuff for William, and he doesn't care. But I guess you could argue this is different. I don't know. But I do see what you're saying. Alright, we're going to run to the exit. Keep doing what you're doing, sport. Gathering all your strength, courage, and stamina, you bolt out the red double doors and are instantly hit with the golden rays of sunshine on your face. Freedom! The cool midday air hits your face as you step out into the parking lot of Fredbear's Family Diner. The distant hum of traffic is a welcome sound after having to hear the loud noise of "The secret ingredient is you" all day. This is the song that plays in the week before in the 1983 call. We'll hear it again later. As you exit the diner, a kid with a toy rabbit approaches you. Alright, chat. The plush trap kid is approaching us. Do we ignore the kid? Or do we talk to him? What are we going to do with this little kid? This little kiddo? Are we going to talk to the rabbit kid or ignore them? Chat wants us to talk to them. Good answer. Good answer. Because if we ignored them, wouldn't have ended. Wouldn't have ended well. Let's put party hat in timeout. Is this a week before reference? You stop and talk to the kid. After all, maybe you two could become friends. You recognize them. It's Finley, one of the neighborhood kids. Finley smiles and holds up their rabbit. How am I going to do a voice for them? Where's your plush toy? Finley asks you. Mine is Spring Bonnie. My daddy says I have to be careful with him, or I will pinch my finger. He is a finger trap, he says. You think about showing them your Fredbear plushie, but decide not to. Fuck the giggle count. I was thinking about the giggle count, party hat. I hate you. You think about showing them your Fredbear plushie, but decide not to. If they found out your plushie was your only friend, they might think you're weird, like all the other kids do. Not to mention, there's the issue of not knowing where your Fredbear plushie is. It always seems to appear at random, where you least expect it. You never really thought much of it, and just assumed you were bad at remembering where you last put him. I don't have a plush toy, you respond. Finley looks at you like you're crazy. What? They exclaim. Everyone has a plush toy. You put your head down and continue walking. Yeah, well, not everyone. You mumble beneath your breath as you begin your walk home. So, I don't know if you guys caught this, but for Finley, we only use they, them pronouns, because the reason for this, the reason why we decided to make Finley non-binary, other than, inclusion, I don't know what gender the Spring Bonnie kid is. I can't tell for the life of me what gender this kid is. Like, the heart on the shirt is, you could maybe interpret that as feminine, but like the hair I think is the exact same as Crying Child's. She could just have like a haircut, but like I don't know what gender this is, so we just made him non-binary, and I like that decision. I like that decision. Yes, non-binary rep. It's cool. Happy little accident, I like that. It's a neat little detail that I think adds like a lot of life to the story. Just makes it feel more real, Scott Cawthon could never. Scott Cawthon would never. He's too weak. You continue down the sidewalk that departs from the restaurant's entrance through the parking lot. You walk deep into the wooded area surrounding the restaurant and your way home. Oddly, you aren't afraid of walking home by yourself as much as you are by the animatronics. Like you said, being outside was your escape. Walking and playing outside makes you feel much safer, like you're no longer trapped inside the creepy boxes that are your house and the restaurant. Beyond this, the entire neighborhood has changed in the past couple of years. The gay look out. When you moved into your... we can keep that. When you moved into your house a few years ago, it was just your house surrounded by trees and the occasional wild animal that would frolic across your yard. But after Dad and Uncle Hen built the restaurant where it is now, houses began to be built close by, and families moved next door. In what seemed like no time at all, your lonely solitude in the woods became a bustling neighborhood with plenty of kids your age to play with. Sadly, you didn't like any of the kids who lived close by. I want to comment on this real quick. So one of the things that me and BJ were kind of struggling to come to a consensus on was the location of the Afton house in this. Honestly, everything else we kind of like agreed upon. Like, Crying Child's name in this is technically Garrett, but A, we made his middle name Dave. B, we don't really use Garrett at all. We don't use his name. What's it called? Yeah, so I personally think the house in the FNaF 4 minigames is different from the house in the woods. But the one that's being described here, and I think the one BJ thinks is the Afton house during FNaF 4's minigames, is Edwin's old house. I personally think the Aftons moved there after the minigames, after the big bite. So this is like one of, if not the only thing we kind of disagree on in this. And we just decided to keep it in the woods, just because it makes for better scenery, I guess, and we can describe it better. Didn't someone else have a house here before Garrett's family moved in? That would be a good line. Candy's Burgers and Fries. Holy Sigma. Yeah, I don't know. I'm okay with keeping it like this, by the way, BJ. Don't feel like you need to change anything in here. I'm completely happy with how it is right now. I just wanted to comment on that. Everything else, we agreed on like 100%. Hey, you're startled out of your daydream by a little girl, slightly taller than you. You know her, Casey. She mostly played out in the woods, collecting leaves as they fell from the trees. You could definitely recognize her from her twin pigtails that adorned her reddish-brown head of hair. Looking at her reminded you that your sister seemed to have similar hair. You wonder if she'll look like Casey when she grows up. You shudder at the thought. Alright, chat, are we going to talk to her, or are we going to ignore her? Talk to Casey, ignore Casey. Yeah, BJ, I agree. I can definitely see how it's ambiguous. And we did that for a lot of things in here. We tried to keep it ambiguous for a lot of things, like the Fredbear plushie. We don't come outright and say, like, hey, this plush isn't real, or this plush is real, and it's being spoken through by William Afton. We don't say that. We left hints that, like, you know, it appears in places you don't remember putting it. At other times, the way it talks, and as you'll see later in the story, some of the things it says and the times it speaks to Bite Victim lean more towards William. So, like, we tried to keep it, like, non-bias, just because, A, that's what Scott Cawthon would do, B, we didn't want to commit to anything. Is this a reference to how some people think Elizabeth was the girl in the FNaF 4 minigame? Yes, totally. 100%. Yep, we definitely intended that. No, but that is a weird coincidence. BJ, maybe you intended that. I don't know. BJ wrote, like, most of this stuff, and it came out pretty good. We're going to talk to Casey. You sigh and walk towards Casey. Hi, Casey. You say, unenthused. What's wrong? Oh, sorry. What's wrong? She asks in a sarcastic tone. Still afraid of Fredbear? She wasn't wrong, though you don't want her to know that. You know, that should be inside the quote. You know, she continues, I hear they come to life at night, and they hide your body, where no one will find you if you're there after dark. Oh, you did intend it, okay. You've heard the same story before. For as long as you can remember, all the kids have tried to pass around rumors about the animatronics leaving the restaurant and walking around the woods at night. It doesn't help that a few missing persons posters have appeared every once in a while on the restaurant's community board. So someone just randomly falls off the face of the earth every so often. It doesn't mean that Fredbear or Spring Bonnie are alive and taking them away. Besides, you asked Dad about the rumors once, and he told you that they weren't true. You believe him. After all, he makes the animatronics. Then again, Dad seemed quite hesitant when you asked him that question, which is odd because Dad never hesitates about anything. He always seems so precise and sure of what he's doing, and he always seemed to be the person who had the answer to every question. Always had the answers. Even though he acted annoyed whenever you asked, you can't help but admit that you enjoyed hearing him answer any question you had. He seemed like he was a genius, and sometimes he wanted you to know that. Oh, you guys are all smart. I appreciate you guys all being here. It's nice to... I mean, obviously it's nice to have people in chat when we're doing this, because I don't know, without you, I don't know what I'd be doing, so... Alright. Are we going to respond to Casey's snarky remark, or are we going to ignore her? Yeah, they just fell to the back rooms. They did not get murdered. Not at all. Not at all. Maybe they moved. They moved, you know. There's a popcorn kernel in my mouth. Alright, looks like Respond is winning. Thank you, Moon. Alright, we're gonna respond. We're gonna fight back. That's not true. You respond almost without thinking. My dad owns the place, and he says they're not alive. Casey's face turns sour. She probably didn't expect you to say anything to her. You usually just stay quiet and let her words poke at you like needles. But this time, you didn't. Was it your fears bubbling up to the top where it finally overflowed? Or were you more annoyed by Mike's antics than you thought? One time Dad told you to quit crying and stop being weak. Is this what he meant? I don't care who your dad is, Casey responds, clearly trying to find her words. Don't let that get to your head, crybaby. And just like that, Casey steps out of your way and returns to her own little world in her mind. You watch as she begins skipping down the trail. Sometimes you found yourself wondering what went on inside her head, but you didn't really want to know the answer. Next kid. You continue your walk until you reach the edge of the walking trail that connects to the beginning of the sidewalk. Since most neighborhood kids walk to the restaurant, even without their parents, the city council decided to put in a sidewalk close to the road. Where Gary thinks about the animatronics coming to life is meant to be a reference to another character? Is it Ralph? Because I know in the planning page we had Ralph as like a potential cameo. Is that our way of including Ralph? There were scattered pieces of fences whenever you would walk past a house to keep unruly kids out of front yards. where there was also a bike lane on the side of the road that allowed anyone to ride their bike or their skateboards without going into traffic or obstructing anyone from walking down the sidewalk. True Lich. As you reach the turning corner of the sidewalk that leads back into the main neighborhood, you see him. Grant Hutchins. One of Mike's friends who sometimes participated in picking on you whenever Mike spent time with him at the restaurant. He would usually wear a Freddy mask to match Mike's Foxy mask, though this time he didn't seem to have the mask with him. You were glad. You didn't want to have to deal with him. With that said, Grant was always the nicest of Mike's friends, though nice wasn't saying much. A better way to describe him was that he was the least mean of the group. As you walk closer, you can see that he's sitting down at the edge of the sidewalk, laughing at something you can't see. You aren't sure if you want to talk to him or not. Oh, it's not Ralph? Yeah, I don't know who it was. Alright, are we going to talk to Grant? Talk to, or are we going to ignore him? So one of the things that me and BJ agree upon is that the laughing bully in the FNaF 4 minigames is the same as Mike's bully friend who wears the Freddy mask, so Oswald's dad probably. Their designs are the exact same. I don't see why they wouldn't be. We're going to talk to her. Into the pit. I don't know who you're referring to. I'm washed. Talk to her. Party hat, don't you worry about it. We're going to talk to a Garrett. Grant from Tales from the Pizzaplex. Bro. You walk hesitant. You hesitantly walk closer as Grant stops laughing to look at you. He seems to recognize you, as his face shows a smile as he looks directly into your eyes. Though you aren't sure if he's actually happy to see you, or if he's trying to hold back any more laughter. Knowing Grant, it was probably the second option, as he would laugh at almost anything. Mike and his other friends would tease him about it often, but Grant would laugh that off too, saying, "What can I say? I got a really funny strong..." Fuck, I almost had that. "What can I say? I got a really strong funny bone." "Aren't you the kid who always hides under the table and cries?" Grant's laughter resumes. "No one else is scared. Why are you? Stop being such a baby." Maybe it would have been better if you didn't talk to him. I guess he didn't talk to him. Alright. You're almost home, and you're excited. All you need to do is pass the playground that was built almost 2 years ago, then you'll be home. Along the way, you spot what looks like a yellow and purple blur in a nearby storm drain. You blink and it's gone. Weird. After walking a ways more, you reach the wooden playground. You can't help but peer into the playground, looking to see if there's anyone playing on the swings or going down the slide. You look at the seesaw and the Freddy and Chica-themed teeter-totters that Dad and Uncle Hen donated to the playground to help advertise the second, newer restaurant, Freddy's, that just opened in the next town over. You catch sight of Sally, a little girl with short blonde hair, playing next to the swings. You don't talk to her often, but when you do, she's usually nice. Alright. Are we going to talk to her? Are we going to ignore her? Or are we going to investigate the storm drain? The yellow and purple blur in the storm drain, by the way, is a reference to how the Fredbear plushie can be down there. Oh my god! BJ, we should have included a reference to Fredbear being a flower. How do we forget that? Oh. I don't think we can include it. I think that would be weird. Oh, that's so... Oh. As the #1 Flower Afton's defender, I should have known better. Alright, storm drain it is. Dog toy squeaking. Squeak, squeak, squeak. Alright, let's investigate this storm drain. You decide to investigate the strange blur you thought you saw in the storm drain. At first, you tell yourself it was nothing, just your eyes playing tricks on you. But your feet keep moving anyway, slow and uncertain, as if pulled forward by something you can't quite name. The field. The storm drain comes into view, its metal grate slick with moisture and streaked with grime. A faint, sour smell rises from it, thick and damp, curling into your nose and settling in the back of your throat. You feel your stomach tighten. As you get closer and closer to the storm drain, You hear strange whispering coming from the depths. It's faint at first, barely more than a breath, threading through the darkness below. You strain to listen, tilting your head slightly, trying to make out words, but the sound slips away every time you focus on it, like it doesn't want to be understood. Or worse, like it's speaking directly to you. You take another step closer. Something within you urges you to reach your arm into the storm drain, but you aren't sure why. Do you give in? Can shake shit. No, Moon, you're fine. You're fine. You're fine. Do we reach arm into the storm drain, or do we keep walking and ignore this feeling? Also, yeah, never mind. I won't say anything. Reach arm into the drain. Alright, we're gonna do what any sensible 7-year-old would do here, and we're gonna reach our arm into the drain. You give in to the mysterious force that draws your arm into the storm drain. As you reach in, you shut your eyes and hope for the best. At first, nothing happens. But as you begin to pull your arm back out, something grabs it and doesn't let go. You cry out in pain, hoping someone will hear you. But when you look around for the other kids who were nearby, they've all vanished. You finally decide to look into the storm drain, and are met with a pair of glowing orange eyes staring at you. This creature wants your arm, and it's determined. After playing tug-of-war with your arm for a bit, it finally lets go. Giggle count. Or at least, that's what you think at first. You try pushing yourself away from the storm drain, but realize you're missing your arm. The creature won. You collapse back down to the ground, and as you begin to bleed to death in front of the creature, it watches with fascination before pulling the rest of your body into the storm drain with it. Game over. Never before have I been so sure I want a game over. Valid. Hiya, Georgie. The mimic! The mimic! The mimic! I was debating adding a detail of, like, the eyes, like, having a swirl pattern to them, like M2, but I don't know, I feel like that's a little too on the nose. The ripping off the arm, watching you with fascination, I think that does the job. It's the mimic! The mimic! I don't know. This is one of those, like, gray areas where we kind of could play around here. We don't know what happens to the mimic after Secret of the Mimic. It just waddles off. Maybe it's been living in the sewers for the next, like, 40, 50 years until help wanted. We don't know. We don't know. We don't know. Silly ending. Alright, no, we don't want to keep walking. We cannot skip BJ's dialogue. Bro's too good at that. We're gonna stop to talk to Sally. The mimic. You deter from the sidewalk as you approach Sally. You look over to see her mother talking to another adult who lives in the neighborhood. As you get closer, you notice that Sally is talking to her plastic toys of Freddy, Bonnie, and Chica. These toys look slightly different. Their designs are based on older, unused designs that you once saw in drawings at Uncle Hen's house. They were part of a plan by him to make the characters look cuter and much less creepy. Dad wasn't sure if it would work, since the designs they have now were more well-known to kids, and feared losing customers because of the change. As you get closer, you can hear Sally talking to herself. No, talking to her toys, using her voice to give her toys voices of their own, all to act out whatever game she was playing at the moment. "Hey, Sally," you begin, causing Sally to perk up from her toys. "Oh, hey, Garrett," she says with a friendly smile. "Want to play with me?" Alright, do we play with Sally, or do we ignore her? I'm just now realizing how many options for ignore there are. Midnight Motorist. Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, BJ. Mimic stole the data diver and sat in the storm drain. Hey, maybe he just wants to rest. No, yeah, me and BJ have, like, our own different thoughts for what happens to the Mimic after the game. Me, personally, I think, Fredbear's game, not Fredbear's game. Secret of the Mimic pitch, DLC pitch. Fall Fest 83, we play as William. We stop the Mimic, who's been terrorizing Fall Fest as revenge for Fazbear Entertainment sending all those technicians to his home, intruding his home, and for ruining Edwin's life. Yeah. Alright, let's play with Sally. You eagerly sit down across from Sally as you pick up Chica. You notice that Chica is missing her beak. It broke, Sally answered, seeming to read your mind. She holds out her hand, revealing the broken-off beak. My dog tried to eat her. You've met Sally's dog once before. You and Mike were walking to the restaurant when her mom was walking him. You didn't like him that much because all he did was bark at you. No matter how many times you tried to be nice, all the dog did was growl, like you had some sort of foul scent on you. Still, though, you didn't want to tell her that. The neighborhood kids were rarely ever nice to you, and you didn't want to mess this one chance up. I guess he really likes chicken, you respond, not knowing what else to say. Sally giggled. Giggles. Sally giggles, making you happy to make someone laugh. Chica's my favorite, she continues. Maybe my dog likes her too. You never make anyone laugh. With the family you live in, you hardly hear laughter at all. The only time you do is when it's from Mike laughing at you when he's done tormenting you. It was nice, you thought, to have someone to talk to that wasn't your plushie. Fredbear was your only friend, but talking to Sally made you think that maybe, just maybe, you had someone else to talk to. To play without them picking on you or judging you for crying at the littlest things. So, Sally interrupts, are you excited for your birthday? Your happiness turns sour, as the thought of spending your birthday, surrounded by the animatronics that scared you, gives you goosebumps. Sally seems to notice this. You know, she says, as if comforting you, I thought that said peepaw for a second. My papa turned 70 last month. He was pretty sad because he didn't like being that old. He didn't even want to celebrate his birthday because of it. You listen intently as Sally continues. This is one of the first times where someone has talked to you for this long. You refuse to let it go bad now by making Sally think you're not listening. Wrong. Dog theory, go! Yeah, we need a Fredbear's DLC for Secret of the Mimic. We need that. But, she continues, then he told me that getting older wasn't a bad thing. He said that it just meant that he had spent many years with the people he loves. Like me, my mom, my dad, my brother. That's all you gotta do to be happy on your birthday, Garrett. Just think of the people you love, and who love you. You try to think long and hard on this. You can think of 4 people you love, but you're unsure if they love you back. Dad is never pleasant to be around. The giggle count. He usually hides in his workshop whenever he's home, and even that's a rare sight as he's usually at the restaurant. When he is home, you and Mike try to keep your distance. Dad always seems mad about something, like he's annoyed about nearly everything, and whenever you try to talk to him about literally anything, he'd give you the dirtiest look imaginable, and don't even think about going into his workshop while working. Yeah. One time you did that, and he screamed at you to leave him alone. Yeah, Secret of the Mimic 2. Yeah. Mom is a whole different matter. She's always been a neat freak, always wanting everything in its natural place and where it belongs. She's such a perfectionist that even if you dared to move something out of where she'd put it, she'd flip. You remember one time where Mike put his drink on the dining room table after he dropped a coaster, and she went nuts. Mike was grounded for 2 weeks. Your brother Mike is usually left to babysit you while your parents are away, which is often. Like, almost every day. You know Mike hates that, which might explain why he's so mean to you all the time. But he isn't all bad. You remember one time he used your plushies to tell you a bedtime story. He was so funny when he did all their voices and made them dance around. And of course, there was the time he showed you how to use the TV. But one big thing you've noticed about Mike is that he seems to be sad a lot. You once heard him crying in his bedroom one night, but you never said anything about it to him. Your sister is still a baby, so there isn't much you can say about her. You have to admit that a part of you feels a bit angry at the fact that your mother has dedicated most of her time to taking care of her. She's hardly present for you, but the second a new baby comes along, then all of her other priorities are forgotten. Mike told you that's just what happens when you get a little brother or sister, and you're starting to think he was right. I will, thank you, you finally say to Sally. You didn't want to make her think you weren't going to answer her at all, so you just thought up something random to say. Suddenly, you stand up, as if something inside of you is telling you to leave. I gotta get home, you say plainly. Sally's face turns sad for a moment before getting replaced with a smile once more. Okay, see you at the party. You both wave at each other as you leave the playground. Sally's words still float around in your head. Holy based. The last kid you see on your way home is holding a red balloon. The string is wrapped tight around his wrist, cutting a faint white line into his skin every time the wind tugs at it. He has a snarky look on his face, chin tilted up just slightly, like he's been waiting for you specifically. Which is odd, because you're pretty sure you've never met this kid before. That's why he doesn't have a name. We're saying he's, new and Bite Victim doesn't know. His eyes track you as you approach, too steady for a kid his age. There's something flat about the way he looks at you. Not curiosity, not excitement, more like judgment. He tilts his head. Are you going to the party? He asks. Everyone is going to the party. You stare at him and blink once. Actually... Oh, wait! He interrupts you. You have to go. It's your birthday! His laugh comes out sharp and thin, bouncing off the empty sidewalk. The balloon jerks upward with it, straining against the string like it wants to escape his grip. For a second, you imagine snapping it loose, floating up and up until it disappears into the gray sky and never comes back. If only you had scissors. Why is there an onion? It's a good question, Party Hat. Walking up the steps to your porch, you notice that the front door is unlocked. Someone is home. You carefully enter the house, and are met with silence. The living room looks untouched since you left with Mike earlier. You can hear someone up... I'm going to change this. You can hear someone showering down the hall. Most likely Mom, since Dad is still at work. BJ, I think you'd know why I changed that, just because the bathroom's on the first floor. It's best not to bother her while she's having alone time. Mom is the kind of person who gets stressed out easily, and who can blame her? With all that's on her plate, you're surprised she has as much energy as she does. You look at the TV. If you're not mistaken, a new episode of Fredbear and Friends is airing today, and you could use a little bit of mindless entertainment after the rough last few days. Or you could just skip the TV and take a nap in your room. Either way, you're just glad to be back home. Anywhere that isn't the diner is good in your book. Alright, chat. Are we going to watch TV? Are we going to go to our room? Or do we check on our sister? Didophobia. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, because Rory's mom is showering. Yeah, I didn't even think about that. That's a good connection. That's a good connection glitch, yeah. Especially if we're saying that, the fear experiments are inspired by Bite Victim's life. That's a good connection. I like that. Alright, watch TV is winning. Rest can wait. Right now, it's television time. You walk up to the TV and turn the dial. The screen comes to life. Fredbear and Friends, copyright 1983. Just in time. You sit down on the couch and let your mind fall victim to the bright colors and loud sound effects. Before you know it, you're fast asleep. When you wake up, it's dark out. You must have slept right through your show, and no one woke you up for dinner. Typical. You get up and turn the light on. Looking at the sun-themed clock on the wall, sister location, it shows that the time is exactly 12 o'clock, midnight. Turning the light off, you head into your room and get changed into your pajamas. They're light blue with Fredbear and Spring Bonnie faces all over them. Luckily, the designs are from the cartoon. If they looked like the animatronics at Fredbear's, you don't think you'd ever be able to fall asleep. You turn off the lamp in your bedroom and hop in bed. You're unable to fall asleep right away, as the nap you took earlier went on for several hours. You try rolling to get into a comfortable position, but it's no use. After staring at the ceiling for a few seconds, you see a glowing white light out of the corner of your eye. Turning to your right, you see your Fredbear plushie on top of your dresser. Someone's up late, aren't they? You rub your eyes and sit up. Yeah, you groggily reply. I accidentally took a nap earlier, and no one woke me up. Not to worry, your Fredbear plushie exclaims. I can help you fall asleep. I will read you a bedtime story. Really? You ask. You do that for me? Of course, the plushie replies. That's what friends are for. Just get comfortable. You roll over on your side and close your eyes. Let me do something real quick. Yeah, just to keep it consistent. Pulling the blanket over yourself, you feel a surprising warmth. I'm going to change that to comforting. You feel a comforting warmth. Sure enough, your Fredbear plushie begins to read to you. Now I will tell you a story about a little boy and his best friend. There once was a little boy who got very sick and had to stay in bed all day. This saddened the boy, as he loved to play outside and go on adventures with his brother. One day, the boy's grandmother returned home from the toy store and gave the boy a hand-sewn doll. The boy loved the doll with all his heart and poured all his happy feelings into it. Unfortunately, the boy also poured all his sickness into the doll as well, which gave the doll immense pain. Eventually, the boy died, leaving the doll all alone. The boy's grandmother found the doll and realized it was full of the boy's emotions. She took the doll to be burned, but could not bring herself to do it. Instead, she kept the doll and looked after it all the time. One night, the doll had moved on its own, and the boy's grandmother could sense her grandson once more. You fall asleep before your Fredbear plushie can finish the story. Tails games come back. Didophobia describes the FNaF 4 room, likely based on David's room. Secret of the... Yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. I think Didophobia... Look, Glitch, you're going to get me on a rant about Tails games. I know the popular consensus right now is that Tails games was shot dead. But I'm sorry, you have stories like Help Wanted, GGY, and Didophobia that fit perfectly into the games. I don't see any reason not to include them. I think the books are just secondary canon. Canon, unless they're overwritten by the games. Into the Pit, Secret of the Mimic. The real Jake. I'm going to leave this up to interpretation. What this story is about, I'm going to leave that to interpretation. Yeah. One day until the party. This might be the worst day of the week so far. Heck, maybe the worst day of your life. No, Glitch. You're fine. You're fine. Hi, Joey. No, Joey, you're fine. You're fine. Better late than never. Once again, you've been left to be watched by your older brother, Mike, who brought you home to the restaurant to hang out with his friends. Sadly, not a lot of preteens like to have their little brothers with them when they're trying to act cool. So the next thing you knew, he was dragging you to an employees-only room down the hall away from the main dining area. Shoving you into the room, Mike quickly shut and locked the door, leaving you to become blinded by tears running down from your eyes. When your tears start to calm, you finally turn around to face whatever is accompanying you in this mysterious and scary new environment. You realize that you're in a room with multiple shelves full of animatronic parts and shells. Various prototypes and spare heads stare at you, like you're an intruder in their home. You try to push open the door, but it's stuck. "Mike!" you exclaim. "Please let me out! Please!" Yelling is pointless. No one can hear you over the sound of the animatronics on stage. You wish you had your Fredbear plushie here with you. He would know what to do. He always knows what to do. Surely he would know how to get you out of this room, too. You look around the room to try to find another way out, and spot a giant vent in the upper right corner. There's a shelf directly below it, so you figure you could use that to get inside. But at the same time, you're already somewhere you're not supposed to be. Why risk getting lost in a big, scary vent system? Maybe it's just better to make as much noise as possible. That way someone can hear you and come let you out. Or maybe you should just wait and hope someone comes to rescue you. Also, I'm going to change the background music to the other medium sound. What the hell? Oh. But there's another minigame ambience, isn't there? I don't know. Yeah. I guess we're just going to stick with this. I swear there's another one. Yeah, we're doing the FNaF 4 interactive novel. Alright, are we going to investigate the vent? Are we going to make noise? Or are we going to do nothing and wait? It's not that serious, bro-tato chip. Bite victim gets bitten like a potato chip. This is supporting my Fazburger theory. I don't know. I think we should vent. I agree, Moon. We're gonna vent. Let's go through the vent. Climbing up onto the shelf, you grab a nearby screwdriver and unscrew the vent door. It comes loose, and you're able to throw it to the ground. You take a deep breath before climbing inside. 6-7%. It's dark and claustrophobic. Two of your worst fears. But it's either this or starve to death waiting for someone to come rescue you. So you'll take your chances. After crawling for what feels like an eternity, you finally hear sounds. Music. The same music you heard in the dining area. You must be close. Coming around a corner, you see light coming through another vent opening. You look through the holes and see the dining area. You try pounding on the door to get it to open, but it's no use. Hang on. This seems like it's... You try pounding on the opening. Try pounding on the vent opening to get it to... Whoops, that's the camera. To get it to come loose, but it's no... Oh, we're dropping bars now. Hang on. No, I messed up the camera. Yeah, you try pounding on the vent opening to get it to come loose, but it's no use. We're dropping bars now. Crewmate or imposter. Bro. Oh yeah, Joey, this is the finished version of it. This is the finished version of the book. Not long after, the music stops, and the crowd of kids and adults disperses. One figure catches your attention, however. It's Mike! He's talking to one of his friends. You crawl back through the vents to take a listen. And are able to catch the last part of their conversation. Something special planned for his birthday party. I'll tell you and the others about it later. Mike's friend laughs and gives him a fist bump before they start walking off in a different direction together. Suddenly, you feel your eyes begin to swell up with tears. It's been such a rough day. You're tired and just want to go home. You want to see your Fredbear plushie and have your birthday party and just be done with everything. You start sobbing when the vent begins to shift. The weight of your body is too much for this thing to hold. Before you know it, the vent gives way, and you start falling to the dining area below. Your scream catches the attention of everyone who is leaving, and they all turn around to see you fall. The last thing you see before you hit the ground is your brother. He was walking off with his friend, but now both have turned. Have now both turned around to see you. A look of complete shock and fear. A look of complete... Real-time editing. A look of complete horror fills his face. You question in your last moments if maybe he really did care for you. If maybe his teasing and bullying were just a way to cover up a deep care he has for you in his heart. A smile fills your face as your body hits the cold floor and everything goes black. I'm so scared. Yeah, no, this is a bittersweet ending, I would say. Let's do nothing. Tired and defeated, you let your head hit the door. You let out one final plea with your remaining strength. Please let me out. You fall to your knees, letting the cold floor touch your knees. You fall to the ground, letting the cold floor touch your knees, before curling up into a ball and crying. You wish your brother wasn't so mean. Tomorrow is another day. Tomorrow is the day. Pre-release build. Yeah. 0 days until the party. Monday, October 31st, your 7th birthday. So, this is another thing me and BJ disagree on. I think Bite Victim dies in spring because I believe in BV first, not Charlie first. Yeah. We decided to go with October 31st just because, you know, it allows for more description. Like, this whole paragraph wouldn't exist if this was in spring. Yeah. So, sometimes you just gotta bite the bullet and go with whatever. Which is fine. You always thought it was weird that you were born on the spookiest day of the year. I think summer. Yeah, spring or summer. Why you say bite victim instead of crying child? I don't know. Bite victim's just easier for me to say. Crying child makes it sound... I don't know. I just have it... I just say bite victim because it's easier. I think it happened. I agree, Moon. Yeah, October 31st is also just like a spooky day, so it kind of fits with like the whole theme. So I get it. Mike always called you a monster baby because of this. Halloween wasn't your favorite holiday anyway. You're already scared of the animatronics, and the characters of Fredbear and Friends have always been a popular costume idea for kids in the neighborhood. Plus, it also doesn't help that Fall Fest, the carnival that Dad and Uncle Hen run, also runs simultaneously with Halloween. The restaurant usually stays open for the holiday, Since it's so grammar is hard. The restaurant usually stays open for the holiday, because it's so popular among the kids who live in the area, it does great business for families to enjoy the festivities of Fall Fest 83. I'm going to give it that. Fall Fest before coming to get some pizza at the restaurant. Fall Fest usually gives out coupons for prizes anyway, so it all helps business. Yeah, BJ's a Charlie First believer. Yeah, Cursor Dreadbear, that's valid. You aren't too excited, even though it's your birthday. Both your parents and Uncle Hen usually don't come to your parties, mainly because they're busy handling Fall Fest. The manager and assistant manager of the restaurant are left to handle things here since it's just one building. Fall Fest is huge, so it naturally consumes the time of your dad and Uncle Hen. I thought I got rid of this. I don't know. Still, though, that wasn't why you weren't excited. Mom and Dad being missing is normal for you. No, you're scared of them. Both animatronics, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie, are on stage performing their usual songs you're used to hearing them sing. To keep your mind from realizing how anxious you are, you start flooding your thinking with the characters themselves. You remember something that Uncle Hen told you a few years ago. As it's... I don't know, this is... As it's... Yeah. I don't know, I'm just gonna keep it. That sentence hurts my brain. I get what it's saying, though. You remember something that Uncle Hen told you a few years ago? Before the second restaurant opened a few months back, Fredbear and Spring Bonnie were just called Freddy and Bonnie. However, as part of a company-wide rebrand, Uncle Hen and Dad decided to give Freddy and Bonnie new looks. Freddy was given a more brown fur color compared to Fredbear's golden brown. Bonnie, meanwhile, was completely recolored to blue as compared to the original, warm yellow that Spring Bonnie has. The new versions got so popular with kids that they're now considered the true Freddy and Bonnie. The original golden versions were softly rebranded. The gold Freddy was allowed to keep his first name Fredbear, while the staff began calling the first Bonnie Spring Bonnie, since it was a Springlock hybrid, and the new Bonnie is a normal animatronic. The Fredbear's restaurant that you're in now is actually one of the few restaurants left using the name Fredbear. After the second restaurant got so big, all the restaurants across the country were changed from Fredbear's to Freddy's. Dad wanted to keep this one for sentimental reasons. You figure he has a hard time letting go. Like the movie, like he says in the movie. The movie. As you sit at the table daydreaming, you're pulled back into reality as you hear the familiar sound of teasing laughter from behind. Turning around, you see Mike standing with 3 of his friends. They're all wearing masks of the Freddy's cast. Mike has his arms crossed, and even though his face is being obstructed by his Foxy mask, you can tell he has a giant, devious grin. I'll change that to mischievous. Devious is not the word I was going for there. Just then, the group of teens begins to walk towards you. You panic as you hear the rest of them start to chuckle, wondering what they have in store for you on your birthday. Whatever it is, it can't be good. Yeah, you can thank BJ for that explanation for Fredbear's and Freddy's. That was all him. I think he did great. Alright, chat. This is an important choice. This is an important choice. BJ helped glitch solve the timeline over here. This is an important choice. One route will lead you to the normal canon ending. The other route allows you to get the secret ending. On second thought, we're not going to do a poll here. I'm going to read through the canon route first. We'll come back and do the non-canon route, just so we can do the secret ending. The reason I have it like that, in the week before, which is like the main interactive novel I used for like the base of this, I don't like how you get the secret item. Like I don't like how they handle the secret item in all the interactive novels. I think it's silly. So for this, I wanted to make it so the canon route has nothing to do with the secret item. The bonus, I'm using bonus and secret interchangeably. The bonus item is only something you get on a deviating route that then allows you to play through and get the non-canon secret ending. The normal canon ending is not touched or changed at all by the secret bonus stuff. That's how I wanted to do it. No poll. Don't worry, chat. We'll do a poll. We'll do a poll. I think it's coming up. There's going to be more polls. Don't worry. Wait, no. Is this what I'm thinking? Yes, okay. So, we're going to make a run for it. This is the canon route. Without thinking, you jolt out of the chair and towards the exit. In your haste, you trip and are sent flying to the ground. Mike's friends stand and laugh over you as the tears start flowing. "Wow, your brother is kind of a baby, isn't he?" says Jeremiah, one of Mike's friends who is wearing a Bonnie mask. This is another thing we kind of like compromised on. I won't go into it though, because my voice hurts. Everyone called him Jeremy for short. That was our compromise. "It's hilarious," Mike responds. He pauses for a second before continuing. I forgot the British accent. "Why don't we help him get a closer look? He will love it." You look up at Mike. He has his hands on his hips, and you can see him smiling under his mask from below. Your tears are flowing faster now. The last thing you want to do is get up close and personal with the animatronics. "No, please!" You try to plead with Mike, but it doesn't work. It never works. Mike and his friends move in closer. "Come on, guys. Let's give this little man a lift. He wants to get up close and personal." I do a terrible British accent. They come in even closer, and Mike and Jeremiah pick you up by your arms. They start bringing you to the stage, as the other two bullies follow. Their laughing continues as they walk. You try to fight back, but falling to the ground and crying has used up almost all of your remaining energy. "No, I don't want to go! Let me go!" You manage to squeeze out, but the teens ignore you. "You heard the little man. He wants to get even closer." "Don't worry, little man. We'll help you get a closer look." Mike's voice is mean and hard. His grip on your arm tightens as you reach the stage. Through tears and the usual loudness of the diner, you can hear bubbly pop music as Fredbear and Spring Bonnie are playing one of their classics. The secret ingredient is you. This part was ripped straight from the week before, by the way. You are now being held directly in front of the stage, facing the animatronics. You wonder if anyone in the diner has noticed your brother and his friends, and why they aren't doing anything to help you. "Hey guys, I think the little man said he wants to give Fredbear a big kiss." You continue to squirm. "On 3. 1, 2. Mike's voice is cracking me. I cannot do Mike's voice. I like to think I do a pretty decent... I can do Mike, post-scooping. "Father, it's me, Michael." But, teenage kid Mike? No. The bullies climb onto the stage as Mike yells, 3! Nearby, you think you can hear a man call out for the bullies to get off the stage, but they ignore him. Again, this is another detail from the week before. Instead, they're fully focused on lifting you up to get close and personal with Fredbear. You're brought right in front of Fredbear's mouth and are able to see their inner mechanisms that act as his skeleton. By now, everyone in the diner is aware of what's happening. Screams and shouts fill your ears. Before you know it, you're placed in the mouth of the animatronic as it continues singing. The world around you is muffled, and you're no longer able to hear your brother's laugh. You try squirming around in the jaw of the bear, hoping to wiggle free and fall backwards onto the stage. Your tears go flying into the inside of the animatronic. Your cries become more and more desperate until... crunch. Was that the bite of 87? Wait, the stream doesn't have a thumbnail? Hang on. You don't have a thumbnail on this thing? Let me go full screen. I swear I added the thumbnail. We don't have a thumbnail? No, we do. We do. We do. We do. Yeah, we do. Alright. Bro got bit. Darkness. Silence. You don't remember what happened after Fredbear crushed your head. Only the last thing you felt before it all went black. Agony. The idea of Bite Victim feeling agony, like the last thing he feels before he dies, was ripped straight from the FNaF 2 movie, where the last thing Charlie feels before she dies is anger. Just a cool little detail I thought I'd throw in. Just then, your Fredbear plushie appears in front of you, along with the rest of your Freddy's plushies. You hear a familiar voice speak to you, although you can't tell where it's coming from. Can you hear me? I don't know if you can hear me. The voice pauses. I'm sorry. Another voice speaks to you as your Fredbear's plushy eyes light up. You're broken. The Foxy plush disappears. We are still your friends. The Chica plush disappears. Do you still believe that? The Bonnie plush disappears. I'm still here. The Fredbear plushie disappears. Now it's just you and Fredbear. His eyes go dark. I will put you back together. Fredbear disappears, leaving you once again alone in the void. You fall to the ground and curl into a ball. The tears start flowing as you feel yourself begin to fade away too. The final words of your Fredbear plushie echo throughout the void. I will put you back together. You close your eyes and let the darkness consume you. The end. We did it, chat. We got the canon ending. Alright, now, like I said, don't worry, Moon. You might be sad now, but you're going to love the canon end. You're going to love the secret ending. So, we're going to go back to... we're going back to this choice. If we stay put instead of making a run for it, on the day of our birthday party, we will see. You stay put in your seat. Best not to make a scene at your own birthday party. Pretending you don't hear Mike and his friends, you stare down at the cold slice of half-eaten pizza on the plate in front of you. Crumbs have fallen onto the purple, star-filled tablecloth, and an empty glass of Colaroni sits directly across from you. Secret of the Mimic reference. It's not Sodaroni yet in this point in the timeline, although it might be, actually. Hang on. My Tails game... Not Tails games. Moon and Glitch. I know Secret of the Mimic has it as Colaroni. I also know that the Sodaroni bottle, like the can of Sodaroni in Help Wanted, has a date on it. It has a year on it that says, like, Sodaroni since 19-something. Can you guys fact-check me real quick? Would it be Colaroni in 1983? Or would it have rebranded to Sodaroni by this point? I know Into the Pit mentions it too, but I don't know. '86? Okay. Why do you have a British accent? 86, not 83. Okay, so that does fit. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Yes, I have... Well, yeah, I have been to Chuck E. Cheese before. It would be cola. Okay. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Just wanted to make sure. Hey, little man! You hear your brother call out from behind you. You ignore him, hoping he'll get bored and walk away. But he doesn't. Instead, he walks up right next to you, as the rest of his friends box you in. Hello, I'm talking to you. Mike says with an irritated tone. He knocks on your head. It hurts. Hello, anybody home? You hear Mike's friends snicker. You hear one of Mike's friends snicker as you finally speak up to your brother. Leave me alone, Mike, you say, trying to sound confident, but coming out meek instead. He speaks! Mike exclaims. Come on, little man, don't be such a downer. It is your big day, after all. He punches you in the shoulder, before continuing. We have a big surprise for you today, don't we, guys? Mike looks at his friends. They all agree with him, and try their best to hold back their laughter. Now, why don't you stand up, and we can bring you to your surprise? Mike is saying it like a demand, not a suggestion. Yeah, it's to die for. One of Mike's friends blurts out. Mike gives him a death glare before returning his attention to you. Obviously, the bullies don't know he's going to die from this, but you know. Dramatic irony or whatever it's called. You refuse to stand up. Mike's face fills with disgust and impatience. Don't you know it's rude to refuse gifts? He responds. Maybe he just needs a lift, Jeremiah exclaims as he steps closer to you. Good idea, Mike exclaims. Just as they're about to pick you up out of your chair, you hear a door swing open and hit the wall behind you. Mike and his friends turn to see what the disturbance is, as do you. Out walk several employees wearing different colored party hats. Party hat? One employee is carrying a cake, while the others hold presents and have party blowers in their mouths. They all walk over to you and set the cake and presents down at the center of the table. It's a Halloween-themed marble cake. The words, Happy Birthday, are surrounded by 7 lit candles. The smell of the cake draws in the crowd of kids and adults to your table. Mike and his friends are forced to stand down as Mike gives you a glare through his foxy mask before retreating into the crowd. This isn't over. Is everyone ready? It's time for a Fredbear birthday celebration! An employee gestures for the crowd to start singing as you're overwhelmed by the loud noise of a Fredbear-themed birthday song filling your ears. As you pretend to be enjoying the song, you look past the crowd at the 2 animatronics on stage. Fredbear and Spring Bonnie sit idle, waiting for the song to be over. It's a tradition at Fredbear's Family Diner for the birthday celebrator to get their photo taken with the animatronics on stage, which is the thing you are dreading the most about having your party here. Once the song is over, and everyone has grabbed their slice of cake, you open your presents. Most of it's junk. Useless toys you'll never play with or touch again. But one present stands out among the rest. A Fredbear mask. Something about the mask makes you feel different. You can't explain it, but it's almost like you were meant to find the mask. Like it was your destiny to have an attachment to Fredbear. Before you can question the feeling the mask gives you any longer, you're called to the stage by an employee. You put the mask on your head as it sits on your hair. Add the bonus item to your inventory. Sorry, I wasn't reading chat. I wanted to get through that. Yeah, Chuck E. Cheese... The downfall of Chuck E. Cheese needs to be studied. Oh, yeah. What BJ said, yeah. We both agree that Cassie's dad is named Jeremy. We just wanted to switch it to Jeremiah, because we're silly. Fredbear mask. No, don't worry, Glitch. We don't believe in CC receiver here. The presents and cake are purely just because it's his birthday, and the mask is just because we wanted to have a bonus item that could be used in a way that makes sense. But I don't think me and BJ believe in Bite Victim being the receiver. It's definitely Cassidy. Return to the Pit basically confirms that. Ah, hell nah, yo ass tweaking, Jigsaw! Making your way up to the stage, you're instructed to stand there while the employees grab the camera from the back and get it set up for your birthday photo. As you stand in front of the stage, you look around for Mike and his friends. They're nowhere to be seen. You turn around and look up at the animatronics. They're no longer deactivated and are singing some song about the importance of sharing. You notice Fredbear looking down at you and at the mask on your head. It's almost as if he's giving you a look of approval, as weird as that sounds. Boo! You quickly turn around, startled, as Mike grabs you by the arms. Didn't think you'd be able to get away from me that easily, did you? Mike's friends are gone, and it's only him. But maybe that's all he needs for his surprise. He picks you up and brings you closer to Fredbear. Time for your surprise, he exclaims. Your Fredbear mask falls to the ground as Mike brings you up in front of Fredbear's mouth. Normally Mike would taunt you, making jokes about giving Fredbear a kiss or something like that. But now he's rushing, probably wanting to get in a good few laughs before the staff returns for the photo. Before you know it, you're placed in the mouth of the animatronic as it continues singing. The world around you is muffled, and you're no longer able to hear your brother's laugh. You try squirming around in the jaw of the bear, hoping to wiggle free and fall backwards onto the stage. You quickly begin crying, as your tears go flying inside the animatronic. Your cries become more and more desperate until crunch. Same route as before. The end. So this, technically I lied earlier when I said you can do this and still get the canon ending. But we have the secret item now. We have the bonus item. Add a soundboard. Yeah, Jeremiah is the name of the protagonist in Prankster. Yeah. Alright, we are going to redo this, but with the bonus item now. Yeah. I'll guide us. When we get to the choices, I'll do polls, but for now, I'll just guide us there. We're back at the start. 5 days until the party. What did he do this time? You hear the voice of your Fredbear plushie speaking to you. It sits next to you on your bed. Its voice understanding... Yeah, actually, we can just skip that. So, if we go to the window, we are given prompts. You walk over to the window. Morning sunlight shines down into your room. You can see kids playing together outside, having fun and laughing. You wish you had friends to play with like that. Most people your age make fun of you, and the ones who do talk to you do it out of pity. It's not like you can be friends with your siblings either, considering the age gaps between the three of you. You turn around and look at your Fredbear plushie on the bed and smile. You're grateful to have someone like Fredbear to help you through the hard times. Sure, he can be intense, but he means well, right? You look back out the window. Dad requires you to have your window closed and locked at all times, which isn't particularly useful when you've been locked in your room by your brother. If only you had the strength to open it. If you have the bonus item, click here. Looking around your room, you spot a Fredbear mask sitting under a dirty t-shirt. How did that get there? So, kind of like all the other interactive novels, the official ones, the way the protagonist has the secret item is not really explained, like especially in the week before. It's kind of just something they have. Yeah. BJ, I have no idea who you're talking about. What? We're gonna meet someone the fan base has been begging to meet for years? I wrote the book. I co-wrote the book with you. How do I not know who you're talking about? I have no idea who you're talking about, BJ. What? I guess I'll find out. Walking over to the mask, you pick it up and put it on. It feels weightless and heavy at the same time, but not physically heavy, rather emotionally heavy, like wearing the mask makes you someone else, someone stronger. You walk back over to the window. The only way you're going to get out of your room is by being brave, and if that means wearing a mask you found under a dirty t-shirt, then so be it. As you lift up your window, you hear the voice of your Fredbear plushie from behind you on the bed. So, before we go too deep into the secret item route, I want to explain what the mask does. So, obviously we know in the normal route of the game, crying child is scared. The only way you're going to get out of your room is by being brave. The mask makes you emotionally heavy, makes you someone stronger. For some reason, I don't know why, wearing the mask makes Bite Victim feel like he's stronger and braver. Without spoiling it too much, the secret route path is kind of going to be the inverse of the normal route, where Crying Child's just scared all the time, crybaby. In the secret route, we're going to see him change for the better. I really like the secret route. Very proud of it. Oh, BJ, I know who you're talking about now. Where are you going? You need to stay in here, where it's safe. You don't respond. This room doesn't make you feel safe. Not after the countless times Mike has popped out and jump scared you in here. The window is now fully open. You put one foot outside and stand on the grass, crushing a few flowers Mom was growing. Before you know it, both feet are outside, and you feel the warmth of the sun shining down upon you. You take a few steps out into the yard, when the other kids finally notice you. They stop and stare at your mask. If this was any other time, they would laugh and call you mean names. But now, they walk over to you. Cautiously, you stand there, wondering why they're getting closer. Is it to ridicule you? Or maybe they want to rip your mask off and throw it to the ground? No. Instead, the kids get a closer look at your mask and smile. "Cool mask," one of the kids says. Your eyes widen. "Yeah, I have one of those at home. I love wearing it," another kid says. "Do you want to play with us?" They like it? They like you? This is a first. You're not used to kids being nice to you, let alone asking to play with you. But you're obviously not opposed to it. You smile and take off the mask. "Sure." The three of you run off to play on the playground in front of your house, the sun still shining brightly down onto your skin. Time flies by, and before you know it, Dad is home. He calls you in for dinner, as you say bye to your new friends. Tomorrow is another day. Bye, Joey. Yeah, I like this. I like the bonus item route. I like this route. It's very bittersweet. Wearing the mask gives Bite Victim the opportunity to meet new friends. They play outside all together. They all play outside together until sunset. And just like the image of that, like playing outside with your friends until sunset, you get called in for dinner. It just like evokes such a nostalgic feeling in me. I don't know about you guys, but like just the imagery of that really it's a really strong image. I'll just say that. This is the same. If we go to the living room on this day, surely if Mike was here, he would have scared you by now, right? You take a few more steps into the dark. You figure you have the house to yourself for once. Maybe you can finally catch up on Fredbear and Friends. One of the few good things about Mike was that he taught you how to record episodes in case you missed them, so you can watch them later. Cece kills Mike. Yes, he's got blood on his hands already. Yeah, it's wholesome to see Bite Victim making friends, yeah. And it is very nostalgic. I'm glad you feel that way. That's what I was going for. We have the bonus item. You look over to the couch and spot your Fredbear mask from the day before. After you came in for dinner, you threw the mask on the couch and apparently forgot to bring it to your room. Well. Making your way over to the couch, you put on the mask. Like it did yesterday, the mask gives you a warm, brave feeling. Looking past the living room into the other hallway, you notice that the lights are out. Normally, you would never venture into the dark, especially knowing that Mike could be lurking behind any corner. But with the mask on, that fear disappears. Walking past the TV, you make your way into the dark hallway. The first door on your left is Mike's room. The door is propped open slightly, allowing you to look inside. One sec, chat. Me papa just came home. You enter Mike's room, hoping to see if he's in there so you can know whether you're home alone or not. You check all the usual spots. Inside the closet, behind the door, under the bed. Actually, what is that? Also, let me make sure I didn't just... Yeah. You spot a giant gray box tucked under Mike's bed. Pulling it out, you notice that there are 2 locks on it, but the passwords for both of them are written on the lid of the box. Mike never was good with keeping things hidden. It's the box! It's the box! It's the box! The box! We got everything in here except Fredbear being a flower. Opening the box, you find photo albums labeled Mike's Memories. You take off your mask to get a better look. Flipping through the pages, you see photos taken by Mom and Dad of some of Mike's happiest moments. Like when he won his Foxy mask at Fall Fest, or when he got a gold star for attendance in 3rd grade. But as you keep flipping through the pages, you notice something. A lot of the photos feature you. Your birth. Mike is standing next to Mom, who's cradling you in her arms. Your first birthday party. Mike's holding you in his arms with a proud smile. Your first time riding and falling off a bike. Mike is nearby with a Band-Aid. Your first Christmas. You and Mike are wearing Santa hats. Your first day of school. Mike is standing next to you, holding your hand. Mike has photos of all of it. He cared. Or maybe he still does. After all, why would he keep the photos if he totally hated your guts? You think you hear shuffling down the hall, and quickly throw the photo albums back into the box before locking it back up and throwing it under the bed. You dash out of Mike's room and are met with Mom and your sister at the front door. Your sister is fast asleep in Mom's arms, and Mom gives you a tired yet warm smile as she walks off to put your sister in her crib and get started on dinner. Mike is still nowhere to be found, but maybe that's not a bad thing. After all, you don't want to ruin the moment. You make your way back into your room and place your Fredbear mask on the dresser. Tomorrow is another day. Yes, Glitch, that's correct. You got it. The dementia box, yeah. So I like the interpretation that the box is a memory box, so I wanted to literally do that. And I think it's good. Glicky? Bro. Okay. Party hat. Keep working on the giggle counter, buddy. Okay, so in this route, the day where we're left at Fredbear's, if I remember correctly, we have to try to find Dad. Yes. So we didn't do this before, so I'll read it. You have to find someone. You have to find Dad. He'll be able to get you out of here. Looking around the diner, you spot a metal door right next to the stage. It seems to be a room for staff, as there's a big "Keep Out" sign next to the door. You begin to make your way towards the stage when your Fredbear plushie speaks to you once again. "No!" he exclaims in an almost desperate tone. "Don't you remember what you saw? The exit is the other way. Hurry and leave." He's right. You look up at the massive animatronics on stage. It almost looks like they're looking back down at you. You look back at the door next to the stage. There's something about the room that draws you to it, despite your plushie's words. We have the bonus item, so let's click there. Looking around the dining area some more, you spot something yellow on a nearby table. It's your Fredbear mask. You completely forgot you brought it with you, and are really glad you did. You pick it up and put it on. The voice of your Fredbear plushie speaks to you again. "Stop. You don't know what's back there. Do you really want to get lost or trapped back there?" Your plushie somehow knows what you're about to do, which you find weird, but ignore. You walk past the stage and towards the door. Luckily, the mask doesn't stand out too much in the diner, as masks of the characters are usually handed out for birthdays. As you make it to the door, you try opening it, but it's locked. Taking off your mask, that's when you notice a small keypad below the handle. I'm going to change that to near the handle. It prompts you for a 6-digit passcode. You think for a moment what it could possibly be, when you hear the loud voice of your brother echo from across the dining room. "Garrett, come on!" You leave the door, for now, and find Mike standing at the exit. His arms are crossed, and he's clearly annoyed. "Mother demanded I come back for you. Let's go." Mike grabs you by the arm and drags you back home. You enter your room and find your Fredbear plushie waiting for you on your bed. "I told you not to go there. Why do you even care what's in that room?" You pause for a second to blink before looking down at your mask in your hands. "I'm not sure. I just feel like the mask wants me to go in there." No response. "Fredbear?" you ask. "Are you still there?" Still nothing. You hope you didn't anger him. You think about going over to pick him up, but take another look at your mask instead and sigh. "I'm sorry, Fredbear." You place the mask on your dresser and grab your Fredbear plushie, setting him down with the other plushies in the corner of your room. Usually, you would need to sleep with your Fredbear plushie as a form of comfort to get you through the night. But now, you think you can sleep without him. You just hope you haven't hurt his feelings too much. Tomorrow is another day. 2 days until the party. So now this is the day where Bite Victim can talk to all the people on his way home. We're going to skip past that because the bonus item prompt... yeah. So Bite Victim's home now. He comes home. His mom's showering. Yeah. Bonus item, click here. It's been a long day, and the only thing you want to do is rest on your bed. You make your way to your room, and shut the door behind you. Before you head over to your bed to lie down, you look for your Fredbear mask. It's not where you left it, even though you're sure you didn't touch it. "Looking for this?" The voice of your brother comes out from under your bed. He emerges holding your Fredbear mask. "Where'd you even get this thing anyway? It looks stupid." You wish you knew how to answer that. Instead, you just look at him, a look of confusion filling your face. True, Glitch. True. True. That's because it's Mike Dreamer all the way. In the old days, you would have started to break into tears. But now, you just want to know why Mike is like this. You know from looking at his photo albums that deep down, he must care for you in some way. So why does he constantly feel the need to bully you and put you down? Like a dog. Meanwhile, Party Hat's having a mental breakdown. Give it back, Michael, you whisper. Mike's eyes grow big, not expecting the response. Oh, wow, he says almost mockingly. You can actually do something other than cry like a baby. You both stare at each other for a good while. You look past his red foxy mask into his bright blue eyes. They have that same young but angry expression that he usually had whenever he was being mean to you. But this time, you try to intimidate those fiery eyes. Mike was always able to make you intimidated with them. Maybe you could do the same to him. Finally, you... Is that my sister? Is my sister home? Why is my sister home, chat? Finally, you see Mike's eyes soften. Wait, did it actually work? He throws your Fredbear mask over your head as he rips his foxy mask off his. You finally get a clear look at his face. When you usually see him without his mask, you try not to look directly at him, because he would usually give you a dirty look. Like looking at him was one of the worst things you could ever do. But this time, you actually do look directly at him. Maybe it was because you were already looking up at him, and was partially surprised he took his mask off so quickly. You can't help but notice that Mike's eyes are weird looking. Red. That's what they are, red. Maybe he rubbed them too much? You remember that your little sister kept rubbing her eyes until they turned red, and Mom got so worried that she dragged the entire family to the doctor. Dad was so mad to be pulled away from work just to learn his daughter somehow had pink eye. Whatever, he says while walking out of your room. I got better things to do anyway. You can't help but watch your brother walk out of the room and into his, but you feel different about him leaving you alone. Alone. Oh my god, I can't. You can't help but watch your brother walk out of your room and into his, but you feel different about him leaving you alone. Usually you'd beg to be spared by Mike's angsty teen wrath. But this time wasn't like the others. You don't know what, but you hear something in your mind telling you to follow him. You do. Before you know it, you're standing at Mike's doorway. You're standing in Mike's doorway. You see him sitting on his bed fiddling around with a guitar that looks like Spring Bonnie's guitar that he plays on stage. Party Hat, that is the most insane comment I have ever received in my chat. Congratulations. Dad got it for him for his last birthday. That's insane. That's insane. You don't think Mike liked it that much, but he pretended to. You look around to see scattered drawings of various characters from the restaurant. Mostly of Foxy, but some of Freddy and Chica were lying around here and there. Your eyes lock onto one with Foxy and Fredbear standing next to each other, with their arms around each other, like how best friends would smile together when taking a picture. What are you doing in my room? Mike finally looks up from his guitar and right at you. His eyes are angry again, but not like how they usually are. I don't know, you say in return. You're being honest. You have no idea why you're in Mike's room. All you know is that something was telling you in your head to follow Mike. All you know is that something in your head was telling you to follow Mike. And now here you are, in his room, staring at him, like you're a burglar breaking into a random house. You still have no idea why you're here. What have you been drawing? You blurt that out without thinking. Even your eyes grow big from surprise. You see Mike look down, either trying to avoid eye contact with you, or looking at the Foxy and Fredbear drawing. We're almost at a choice here. Nothing, he finally answers. It's not important. You sense a bit of sadness in his voice. When did you draw it? You're genuinely asking. You don't know when Mike had the time to draw all of these pictures. He usually spends all of his time either babysitting you all day, or sneaking off to see his friends at the restaurant or at their houses. He often spent time with his friends mostly to get away from watching you all day. I drew it last night. Mike answers like he doesn't want to. What do you care? Wait, why are you still here anyway? I have to see you all day and keep an eye on you while Mom and Dad are at work. Why can't you just leave me alone for once? Why can't I go 5 minutes without having to deal with you? Mike's words hit harder than any time he's ever jump scared you, especially after you found all the pictures under his bed. You wanted to believe that somewhere, deep down inside that mean heart, Mike still cares about you. Were you wrong? Did Mike really not care that much about you? Did he hate you? You can feel the tears swelling up again. After the straight face you put on earlier for Mike, you don't want him to see you like this again.
Yo, if you step any closer, you're gonna be on stream.
We scared her off. Where was I? Chat. Bernie Bear's sister cameo. Garrett, stop! Mike yells out, almost frantically, like he's desperate. I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make you cry, okay? Just stop crying, and please, don't tell Dad. Actually, he probably would say Father. You stop walking further down the hall as you hear Mike's words. You wipe your tears and sniffle the sadness away. You heard the urgency in Mike's voice, and you never heard him sound like that before. You knew that Dad usually made Mike watch you while he was at work instead of hiring a babysitter, and he would get mad at Mike whenever he wouldn't. You weren't sure if what Mike was saying was genuine, or if he was just saying it so you wouldn't tell Dad. Alright, chat. I know it's been a while since we've had a poll. I'm sorry about that. Are we going to ask Mike about the photo album we found? Or are we going to ask Mike if he hates us? Also, let me let the cat out of my room.
Hey, sweetie. Yes. Run free, my little cat. Run free.
Chat, this is so wholesome. My cat's gone now. Ugh. Yeah, sorry, that was just a lot of me rambling. Alright, we're gonna ask Mike if he hates us, which is good because the other option, not so good. You listen to Mike's words, with a brief thought appearing in your mind about if you should bring up the photo album you found yesterday. You quickly brush that idea aside. You just now learned that Mike has feelings other than anger towards you, so you don't want to ruin it. Instead, you ask a question. Mike, do you hate me? Mike seems to perk up at this. I mean, you are annoying a lot. Your face turns sour again, which Mike seems to notice. Oh, come on, Garrett, he says. Of course I don't hate you. I just wish that I could do something other than babysit you for once. Oh, you respond. I'm sorry, Mike. No, it's not your fault. Father is working all the time, and Mother is too busy with the baby when she's not working. So it makes sense why they'd want me to watch you. It's just... You sit perplexed as Mike trails off. You get the impression that he's trying to consider what he should say next. Is she back at my door? Oh, no, BJ, it's okay. It's because, we got to the part where Mike and Crying Child confront each other. I'm not happy, he says finally. I'm not happy, and I know you're not happy either. Father is never happy. He just goes to work all day, then comes home really late, if he comes home at all. And when he does, he's usually cooped up in his office in the basement. And Mother, well, sometimes I wonder what goes on in Mother's head. I don't know what she does half the time. I just want our family to be happy. I want to be like my friends who come home and spend time with their families. They seem so happy. I wanted to. You stare at Mike's sorrowful face. You never thought someone could be this sad. You think you see a small tear come racing down Mike's face, which scares you even more. You've never seen a big kid cry. You've only ever seen little kids your age cry whenever they would scrape their knee or not get something they want at the toy store. You don't know what makes you do this, but suddenly you put your arms around Mike, pulling him in as best you can for a hug. You can't see his face, but you feel him tense a bit before he puts his arms around you too. For a moment, you two don't make a sound, or do anything really. I love you, Mike, you say almost reassuringly. You hear Mike's breathing slow down as he returns the hug. I love you too, Garrett. Tomorrow is another day. Guys, let's give BJ a round of applause. Bro wrote that all himself, and bro cooked. I don't even know if I'm in frame. Yeah, bro absolutely cooked there. Peek. 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 Alright. So, this next day... This is the FNaF I want. This is the FNaF we deserve. No, yeah, so... This next day, is pretty cool. One where everyone lives and it's all happy. Let him go. Oh, guys. Yeah. BJ did terrific there. Bro did absolutely terrific there. Now we get back to my mid-rating. So, this is a completely different day. If you remember, in the canon route, one day until the party is when you're trapped in the back room, right? Hi, Night Marion. No, we're not done yet. Not crappy VR ports. This is completely different. From here on out, this route is completely different. Makes sense because there's like 50 pages. This is new territory. You sit quietly in your room. You have your Fredbear mask in hand, but set it to the side. It doesn't seem like Mike has any intentions of bullying you anymore after what happened yesterday. And the reason this is different is because, Mike doesn't bully you anymore. You've made up, basically, so he has no reason to trap you at Fredbear's. In fact, he said he was going to talk to his friends about canceling something, although he didn't say anything after that. You don't think you need the mask. For now. Your Fredbear plushie is sitting in the corner with the rest of your plushies. He hasn't spoken to you all day. At all today. But you oddly aren't upset with that. You made friends the other day, and they enjoy spending time with you. You even made amends with Mike, something you never thought was possible. Although you are grateful for your plushies for being there for when you were alone, you're glad to have made real friends. You just hope your plushies understand. The house is quiet, but you know your other family members are around somewhere. You jump off your bed and walk out into the hallway. Where will you go? Alright, chat. No, don't want to... Oh, gee. Hey, a leaderboard! Did not know we could do that. Alright. Do we go to our sister's room? Or do we go to the living room? Bros Endo. Night Marion has a different name every time he comes in stream. Alright, looks like living room is winning. Although we can do both. Sister's room just leads you back, so we'll do this real quick. Oh yeah, plus it's the route to talk to her. As you begin to make your way to your sister's room, you start to hear what sounds like Mom singing a lullaby to your sister from inside. You smile. This is the most peaceful your family has been in a long time. You knock on the door, and Mom quietly tells you to come in. You open the door and see Mom rocking your sister in her arms. The giggle counter's back. Mom is sitting in a chair by your sister's crib, while your sister herself is fast asleep. Mom has a tired yet genuine smile on her face. She gives you a nod, and you quietly walk closer to her. Alright, chat. This is another poll. Do we ask Mom what her name is? Do we ask Mom to play with us? Or do we ask Mom why she's so tired? Night Marion, you might have missed a little. Night Marion, Frickbear's favorite character from FNaF. Frickbear's is a goated game. Of course you guys are saying what her name is. Yeah, Night Marion, you might have missed a little bit. Like the whole book. Alright, chat wants us to ask Mom what her name is. One vote for why she's tired. Mrs. Afton, baby. Alright, let's ask Mom what her name is. As you stand... Spoilers. As you stand in front of Mom, you realize something. In all your years of being alive, you never actually found out Mom's name. This is like kind of a joke. You've never heard anyone call her by her real name. Never seen any documents with her real name. Heck, you aren't even sure she has a real name. It's just Mrs. Afton. The giggle counter. It's always just Mom this, Mom that. You figure now would be a good time to find out. Mom, what's your real name? You ask. Mom looks at you and chuckles to herself. Don't be silly, you know my name. You give her a look that says, no, I don't. Her face suddenly gets serious. Oh, you're not kidding? You shake your head. Her face relaxes, and she gives you a comforting look. My name is Mary. I think, BJ, that was your idea for the name, right? Because I originally didn't want to reveal it, but it's fine. Oh. Oh, no, glitch. That's, yeah, I can see that. My name is Mary. Error. System runtime failure. Retrying. 1 moment. Error. System runtime failure. Retrying. 1 moment. Error. System runtime failure. Retrying. 1 moment. The game crashed while attempting to initialize name. Name, Mary. Retrieving data. Okay. Match found. Out of range. Out of range. Read error. System stop. Exit code 83. Click here to reboot. And that takes you back to the intro. So this is a little layered. I like the idea of an ending where you learn Mrs. Afton's name, something that the community has been dying to find out, only for the book to crash as soon as you find it out. I think that's hilarious. Just like it's like the universe end ending in FNaF World, where it just crashes. And the idea of this being like a game, the game crashed, comes from the interactive novels, where I think they use the exact same, like, in the week before they say, like, the game crashed or something like that. They call it a game. So I guess, the interactive novels are treated as games. I thought it makes sense to do the same thing here, just for consistency. Yeah, it's so powerful that it destroys reality. I don't know, I just thought it was funny. Yeah, no, BJ, I'm glad you pushed back on that. I am glad you did. That's why it's good to have another author to write with. Alright, I think it was, tired? Yeah, Ask Mom Why She's So Tired was second up, so we'll do that next. We won't do Why She Wants to Play With You. You notice the visible bags beneath Mom's eyes. She's usually tired after taking care of your sister and helping Dad with work all day, but you've never seen her this tired before. You hope nothing is wrong. Mom, are you okay? You ask. You look exhausted. You think you notice Mom's eyebrows raise a little, almost as if she was taken aback by your observation. She lets out an audible sigh before responding. I've just been busy helping your father with Fall Fest, that's all. Before you can ask her more, her face becomes serious and her tone changes. Can you please get out of your sister's room before you wake her up? It took me forever to get her to fall asleep. Mom's sudden change in mood catches you off guard. However, not wanting to argue with Mom, you do as you're told and leave the room, shutting the door behind you. On your way out, you think you hear Mom breathe a sigh of relief. You're now back in the hallway. With nowhere else to go, you head to the living room. So this route leads to the living room no matter what. It's the book that treats itself like a game in the game's timeline? I sure wonder. That's actually really good evidence, Glitch. I've never heard that evidence before for the interactive novels being canon. They do treat themselves as games, so I don't... That's good. I've never heard that before. That's good. That's good. That's good. Yeah, so actually, this route is kind of a remnant of a scrapped, like a scrapped plot line that me and BJ had. I won't explain it here just because I don't want to confuse things, but like, Mrs. Afton being tired, remnant of an old version of this route, and we'll leave it there. Party minigames look like a minigame. Nightmarion, that was hilarious. You enter the living room. Warm, midday sunlight shines in from the sky and through the windows. The front door is shut, and although it's nice out, you don't feel like going outside right now. You look at the couch. One of your sister's pacifiers is wedged in between the couch cushions. With nothing else to do, you decide to watch TV, but the TV remote is nowhere to be found. Alright, chat. Remnant. The remnant. Do we look for the remote, or do we keep exploring the house? Something I think that's very cool on this day in the secret route. I knew that, like, I think BJ feels the same way. We knew we wanted to have the player be able to explore the FNaF 4 house, because in the actual FNaF 4 minigames, you just explore the living room and the bedrooms. That's really it. So I think it's so cool that we have the option to explore the rest of the house, and you do get to do that. You get to see some of the other rooms. That's something that I think I'm very happy with that we got to do. Alright, look for the remote is winning. Interesting. Let's look for the TV remote. You decide to look for the remote. The first place you check is behind the TV. Maybe it fell back there somehow? You position your body to get a look behind the TV. There's nothing back there but dust and cobwebs. You continue your search for the remote at the couch. First, you look under the couch. Using the sunbeams as your light, you're able to get a good look at what's beneath the couch. Dust bunnies, candy wrappers, and chewed pieces of gum stuck to the bottom of the couch. Michael likes gum. That's him. Michael did that. You stand back up and look at the pacifier wedged between couch cushions. Duh! If a binky could get stuck there, the remote easily could too. You grab your sister's binky and put it in your pocket. You'll give that back to her later. First, TV. Reaching your arm into the depths of the couch, you feel around for what feels like an eternity, until nothing. You sigh and pull your arm back up. No TV for you. Add the pacifier to your inventory. We got an item! Is it canon that the sister has a... Net Marion, I don't know what you're talking about. Meanwhile, Party Hat's just rebooting in the chat. Bro got stuck on the loading screen. Yeah, so I will say, something I am very glad that we were able to do in this is kind of sort of include items in here. If you remember in the Sister Location interactive novel, I didn't have any items, which was my biggest complaint with it. This kind of fixes that. I wish there were more items, but you know, this is still fine. I'm glad we included those. Alright, more polls. Might as well explore the rest of the house. Making your way into the hallway, you're met with several doors. The imagery of this is meant to parallel the FNaF 2 movie with Vanessa's nightmare in the Afton house, most of which are closed. The door closest to you is Mike's room. You figure it's best not to go in there. After all, if he found out you snuck in there, you don't want to ruin your relationship after you two just made up. The other doors in the hall lead to other rooms. The kitchen, the bathroom, and of course, Dad's workshop. You've never been allowed in his workshop, and neither has Mike. Dad always said it was too dangerous for a young boy like yourself, which wasn't helped by your fear of the animatronics. But now, you're different. Stronger. Braver. Do you dare go in? Forgot what it's called, but it doesn't need a pacifier stop. Night Marion, are you thinking of, like, a baby? Because, like, the intention behind there being a pacifier is, like, Elizabeth is a baby at this point in the timeline. I think she's only, like, 3 years old. So, that's kind of the intention behind that. Oh, BJ, thank you for being here. It was nice to have the co-author here with me. No, it was an honor to have you here, my friend. If you had to get past a big metal door and you had to get past it but don't budge, what would you use to get past it? Walk around it. Alright, chat. Are we going to go into the kitchen? Are we going into the bathroom? Or are we just going to go straight into Afton's workshop? I'll leave that up to chat. Shathias Matthias, what do we think? Also, 7 people on the live. That's crazy. Kitchen has 1 vote. Afton's workshop has 1 vote. What's it gonna be? Afton's workshop has another vote. Chat, think carefully about this. We might not be able to return to the kitchen and bathroom after we go down to the workshop. See if that influences the vote at all. No, Night Marion, you're fine. I'm glad you guys are here. Alright, looks like Afton's workshop it is. We're missing out on some exposition, but okay. Alright. Man of the people. To be fair, the bathroom doesn't have anything of note. Kitchen just has another item. But it's a cool item, so... Yeah. Carefully, you push open the door to Dad's workshop. The stairs lead down to the basement, which is where he does his work in private. You reach around for a string to pull to activate the light bulb at the top of the stairs. Eventually, you find it and give it a good tug. The light springs to life, and you begin your descent into the depths. The walls of Dad's workshop are wooden and lined with dust. Clearly, Dad cares more about the inventions he makes in his workshop rather than the state of the workshop itself. A rack of lab coats and suits sits in front of a seemingly empty closet. The windows looking out to the rest of the world are boarded up. Dad never did want anyone finding his secrets. He was always worried that they would spoil the surprise. In the corner of the room is a messy desk. Making your way towards it, you see blueprints, sticky notes, and ripped out pages of journals scattered everywhere. Journals. Interesting. There's a pencil holder that's been knocked over as well. You really need to take better care of your stuff, Dad, you say to yourself. He'd stab Mike. No, the secret item, if we went into the kitchen, it would have been a Faz Force action figure in a box of Jest cereal. That's why I was kind of hoping we would go to the kitchen at least. Alright, chat. Are we going to look at the blueprints? Are we going to look at the sticky notes? Are we going to look at the journal page? I'll say this, one of the options we can't come back from. If we choose sticky notes, we can't do blueprints and journal page. So choose anything but that. Alright, journal page has 1 vote. My chat's so smart. You guys are so smart. Cereal. Yeah. Alright, looks like we're doing the journal page. Good, because that's... Good choice. Alright, let's see what these journal pages are all about. You decide to look at the pages ripped out of journals and notebooks. You decide to look at the pages that appear to have been ripped out of journals and notebooks. The writing on them seems to ignore the blue guiding lines, and the words float wherever they please. Picking up one of the pages, you hold it up to the boarded window to try to read it better. Alright, chat. I'm going to pause the music for this, just because it's serious. February 12th, 1983. We put the finishing touches on the restaurant today. The crew has done an excellent job of constructing the building according to my design. At this rate, we should be ready to open within the next few months. I must admit, Henry has been persistent with his suggestions throughout the process. What he calls improvements often amount to unnecessary revisions that threaten the schedule. I cannot afford delays at this stage, no matter how well-intentioned they may be. Still, I would be lying if I said I did not understand where he was coming from. There is a certain ingenuity to his ideas, even when they complicate matters. It is almost impressive how he manages to see additional possibilities in everything, even when restraint would be more appropriate. Perhaps that is his flaw as much as it is his strength. I cannot help but notice that he applies himself with a level of dedication that is difficult to ignore. Frustrating at times, admirable in its own way, but ultimately misguided when placed against the need for structure and control. It is late. I will continue this another time. There is still much to be done before opening. W.A. So, this journal page is meant to call back to, I think it's the Silver Eyes, where it's revealed that William has, like, these journals and pages just full of, like, ramblings and obsessions about Henry, you know, ranging from, like, devotion to, like, obsession. Like, that's what I was trying to go for here. I don't think it's as intense, but, you know, one could argue it's earlier in their relationship. I don't know. That's what I was going for here. Just, you know, crazed ramblings about Henry. And, like, this, I think this last paragraph is kind of close. Oh, God. Night, Marion, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot to include the Jacko animatronics. I'm sorry. Completely forgot about that. You're right. Thank you, Moon. Thank you. Henry, as in Uncle Hen? Why would Dad say all that stuff about Uncle Hen? It seems like they get along just fine. They've been friends and partners for so long. You don't understand how he could say all that stuff about him. You can't bring yourself to read anymore, and set the page back on the desk. I'm not going to do the blueprints, just because A, we've been going for a while, B, again, gotta leave you guys something to read on your own. Taking a look at the sticky notes scattered all over Dad's desk, they don't seem to have any logical rhyme or reason. Most of them consist of random, unspecific numbers and letters. A few of the sticky notes seem a little too specific, though. Lure and capture, October 31st. Use Fredbear, no, Spring Bonnie. October 31st. That's tomorrow, your birthday. And Fredbear and Spring Bonnie being mentioned? Is something going to happen at Fredbear's family diner tomorrow during your birthday party? And what is lure and capture supposed to mean? Garrett! The loud, booming voice makes you jump. You turn around to see Dad standing at the entrance of the basement. At the top of the stairs. He's wearing the same dark purple, pinstriped vest and white, long-sleeved shirt that he would usually wear when he was at the restaurant or in meetings. Though he was missing his matching purple suit coat that would make him seem bulkier than he really is. You think he might have left it at the coat rack by the front door. You have to take a step back and tilt your head to follow him as Dad begins to descend from the stairway. At your age, almost all adults seemed like giants. However, Dad was always different. You've heard people mention that he was tall, even by adult standards. Whenever Mike would take you to Fredbear's to see Dad, other parents would have to look up at him if they wanted to talk to him. You weren't really sure if he was just tall, or if that suit coat made him bigger than he really is. Once he makes it to the bottom of the stairs, he looks down at you with disappointment and frustration. You open your mouth to begin explaining yourself, but he holds a finger up. You shut your mouth. You know you're not supposed to be down here, he begins. This is no place for a boy to be messing around. You nod your head, regretting ever coming down here in the first place. You're lucky tomorrow is your birthday. Otherwise, I may not have been so forgiving. Now go upstairs and get ready for dinner. You don't move. Hearing Dad mention your birthday tomorrow reminds you of the sticky notes you found. You zone out for a few seconds, before being brought back into reality by the cold grasp of Dad's hand around your arm. He says something inaudible, but you can tell by the sound of his voice that it's not something pleasant. As Dad drags you back up the stairs, you're able to get one last good look at something. A sticky note on a bulletin board. 6 numbers are written on the note. 395-248. If you know, you know. Once you make it to the top of the stairs and back into the hallway, the basement door slams shut behind you. You've been so brave these past few days. You've been doing so well. You made friends with the neighborhood kids. You made up with Mike. And you've been brave enough to be by yourself for a long time without needing anyone by your side. But this broke you. You run back to your room and slam the door behind you. Jumping onto your bed, you curl up into a ball and start bawling. Just then, you hear a voice from the other side of the room. It's your Fredbear plushie. Its eyes glow an eerie white. He was right, you know. You knew you weren't allowed down there, and you went anyway. The tears flow harder and faster. Don't be sad. I am here with you. Tomorrow is another day. Click here to continue. Actually, I'm just not realizing, did we? Yeah, we did. Alright. Where am I? So, now it's the day of Garrett's birthday party. His bravery, his fear, kind of went bye-bye after he got in trouble for going down to Afton's basement. Frick Bears 3 Afton design. I can see it. 0 days until the party. You sit in silence on your bed. You just finished crying after being reminded of the events of yesterday, and replaying them in your head. The Fredbear mask sits directly across from you on the floor. Your Fredbear plushie is next to you, giving you words of comfort. It's not your fault. You know that, right? You turn to look at the plush. That mask made you someone you're not. You don't need it. You're now looking at the mask. Maybe your Fredbear plushie is right. The only reason you went down into Dad's workshop is because of the mask. If you didn't have it, you wouldn't have done something so stupid, and wouldn't have gotten in trouble either. You stand up and walk over to the mask. Picking it up, you decide you're going to do what you should have done with it a long time ago. You begin to walk over to the window, ready to throw this thing into the bushes and never have to see it again. Taking one last look at it, you breathe a heavy sigh. Just then, you're stopped by the sound of your door slowly opening. A figure walks inside. It's Mike. Hey, little bro, he says in a sympathetic tone. I heard you were upset. Figured you needed someone to talk to. Mike closes the door behind him. His expression is one of care and understanding. You feel your lips begin to quiver and your eyes start to water. Dropping the mask to the floor, you run over to your brother and give him a big hug. Yeah, Nightmare Ione. The Fredbear mask is the bonus item in this route we're in. Bro missed everything. It's okay. Before you know it, you're both sitting on your bed, sharing stories of when Mike got in trouble when he was younger. You don't realize it in the moment, but he's sharing these stories with you to try to make you feel better. To try to tell you he knows what you're going through and that everything is going to be okay. Mike, you say, feeling better than you did before. Why are you doing this? Mike puts his hand on your shoulder. Because it's your birthday, and no one deserves to feel bad on their birthday. He gives you a warm smile as the two of you embrace once more. You had completely forgotten it was your birthday, and that you were supposed to be celebrating it at Fredbear's. Just then, you remember the notes you found yesterday in Dad's workshop. The ones that mentioned using Spring Bonnie for something, and... there shouldn't be a quote there. Using Spring Bonnie for something, and luring and capturing. There's a nagging feeling in the back of your mind that's telling you that you need to be at the restaurant, but you aren't sure why. Maybe it has to do with those notes? Mike stands up and walks towards the door. I'll be in the kitchen if you need anything. He opens the door and begins to walk out, as he turns around to give you one final smile. Happy birthday, Garrett. The door shuts behind him. You're once again alone in your room, but you don't feel as bad as you did before. You look down at your Fredbear plushie, and then at the mask. You can't shake the feeling that's telling you that you need to be at Fredbear's, but you're unsure if it means anything or not. If you follow through with it, who knows what it could lead to? Maybe even something worse than what you saw that made you terrified of the animatronics. Plus, it's your birthday. You should stay home and celebrate with your family, not waste your day somewhere you hate. But at the same time, there's a possibility that someone could be hurt, and you don't want anyone to have to go through what you did and feel the same way you did. If there's a chance someone might be in danger, you need to try to save them. So the reason this says the end here is another callback to the week before. In the week before, in the path leading to the secret bonus item ending, they give you a point at like this where it says the end. That's the reader's cue to be like, okay, I can either stop here and this is an ending, or I can keep going with this route and see where it leads. So this is what the week before does. We're going to go to Fredbear's. How close are we? Oh, we're almost there. Walking over to the Fredbear mask that you dropped on the ground, you pick it up and hold it in your hands. You have to be at Fredbear's. Actually, does it make sense that... Hang on. Hang on. I need to make sure this is fine. Figure walks inside its mic. Which causes you to drop the mask. Yeah, I think that makes sense. Oh, never mind. We mentioned that. We're good. Alright. You have to be at Fredbear's, just in case the worst happens. No one should have to suffer because you were too scared to act. You turn around to leave your room, but stop when you see your Fredbear plushie is on the ground in front of the door. Actually, wait, does he put the mask back? He should put the mask back on. You pick it up and place it over your head. You turn around to leave your room, but stop when you see your Fredbear plushie is on the ground in front of the door. Its eyes burn bright white. Where do you think you're going? His voice catches you off guard. I need to be there, you respond with confidence. I need to make sure no one gets hurt. No, the plushie exclaims. You need to stay here, where it's safe. You know what will happen if... You cut him off. I know what might happen if I'm not there. That's why I'm going. You start to walk towards the door, ignoring the plushie, when your ears start ringing loudly. It sounds like it's coming from your own head and not the plushie, but you know that shouldn't be possible. You take a step back, and the ringing stops. Your Fredbear plushie is trapping you in your room. You need to get out of here somehow. Alright, chat. To get out of the room, are we going to run past the Fredbear plushie? Or are we going out the window? So, that line about, it's coming from your head and not the plushie, that's another piece of evidence that kind of suggests that the Fredbear plushie is imaginary. It's just in Bite Victim's head. I don't think the plushie is actually creating a ringing sound. I think that's Bite Victim's mind trying to stop himself from leaving. That's what I intended. Looks like we're going out the window. Yes. Yeah. Alright, let's get out the window. Correct answer, by the way. You turn around and look out the window. It's warm and sunny out there. The walk to Fredbear's isn't far, and you figure the time you spend climbing out the window is probably less than it would be if you tried to stop the ringing in your head. You throw the Fredbear mask over your head and lift up the window. The whole time, one word echoes through your mind. Don't! Yeah. Moon gets it, Moon gets it. Moon gets it. My voice is like dying. You ignore it and put one foot out the other. Out the window, then the other. You wonder if you should quickly run back inside and let Mike know where you're going. But decide against it. If everything goes smooth, you should be back before he knows you ever left. Without looking back, you begin sprinting to Fredbear's family diner. Once you get there, you throw open the red double doors and are out of breath. Families are sitting at all the tables. The smell of pizza and cake floats through the air, eventually hitting your nose. Both of the animatronics are on stage performing. Has nothing happened yet? As you stand in the entrance, an employee notices you and motions for the other employees. They all look at you and smile. One of them dusts off his shirt. Hi, Glitch, welcome back. One of them dusts off his shirt and cups his hands around his mouth to holler to everyone in the diner. Attention, everyone! The birthday boy has arrived! Oh no. You wonder how they recognized you with the mask on, but that thought is quickly brushed aside once you notice several employees start walking towards you. Now is not the time. You can't get distracted by celebrating your birthday party. You need to make sure no one gets hurt. Alright, chat. Are we going to run past the employees? Or are we going to stay... I can't spell. Are we going to stay put? Which one are we going to do? My god, there's no way we've been going for 3 hours. Yeah, not yet. Alright, run past the employees 1. I think that's not the correct answer. Yeah, okay, this is a dark ending, though. I'm kind of glad we chose this one. When I showed this to BJ last night, he was kind of disturbed by it. It's not that bad, I guess, but it's probably the darkest ending in here, so I'm curious to know what you guys think of this. There's no time to waste. Your birthday celebration can wait. First, you need to make sure everyone is okay. Running past the employees, their speed is no match compared to the nimble movements of a 7-year-old. Unfortunately, you're still out of breath from when you ran to the diner, so the employees are able to catch up with you rather quickly. One of them grabs you by the arm and holds you in place. Whoa there, little man. His voice is high-pitched and annoying. Sit down and open your presents. The employee drags you to a table full of presents and sits you down in a chair. You're surrounded by other employees, who all watch on as you open your presents one by one. The employees are huddled around you, preventing you from seeing anything going on in the restaurant. Once you're finally done opening presents, the employees back off. The diner is emptier now. Quieter, too. You look around to see if anything is out of the ordinary. Nothing yet. Wait! There's a single woman sitting by herself, looking around the restaurant as if she's looking for someone. You walk up to her and ask what's wrong. It's my son, she says. I turned my back for 1 second and he's gone. You feel your heart drop. You help her search the diner, but the woman's son is nowhere to be found. Soon enough, the diner closes for the night. In the following days, you search and search for the boy, but you never find him. Eventually, the woman puts up missing posters, but they're no use. Every night, for the rest of your life, you're reminded by your failure. You wonder what happened to that boy, and hope his mother can live with the knowledge that she'll never see her son again. Game over. Yeah, it was like this line that really got BJ. Which, fair enough. That's very dark. Bite victim was too late. He couldn't save the woman's boy, and yeah. I do really like that line though. You wonder what happened to the boy and hope his mother can live with the knowledge that she'll never see her son again. That's really dark. I'm sorry, Moon. I'm sorry. Moon, trust me. You're gonna like the you're gonna like the normal ending. This is just a Andrew coded. Maybe actually that's not a bad idea. We retcon this to be Andrew. Yeah. You've seen darker. Yeah. I mean, we had a rule for this. We had a rule when writing this story, not to go too dark, especially because the protagonist is a child. Some of the endings lean that way, but we don't describe them in ways that would be dark. Like, whenever Bite Victim causes the spring lock failure in that one ending, he doesn't know what's going on. The reader does. The reader has that knowledge. This is kind of like one of the only endings where Bite Victim is aware of the darkness of it, and I think that makes it a lot darker than if he doesn't. Let's stay where we are. You stay put, not wanting to make a scene at your own birthday party. The employees put their arms on your back and guide you to a table with cake. They walk off, leaving you to eat your cake in peace. As you sit at the table, you look around the diner for anything out of the ordinary. You watch as families eat and talk amongst each other. How could anybody eat at a time like this? As you survey the restaurant, you see a metal door next to the stage open up. Out peeks a yellow figure, Spring Bonnie. Neither they nor Fredbear are performing on stage, so you figure they're just going out to interact with the customers. Spring Bonnie begins creeping out from behind the door and walks up to a little boy standing by himself. You look around frantically to see if anybody else notices what's going on. Nobody does. Spring Bonnie motions for the boy to follow him and leads him back to the door next to the stage. The boy walks in first, and Spring Bonnie takes a look around the diner to see if anybody saw him. You duck your head down, not wanting to be seen, even with the mask on. You hear the door shut behind them and look back up. Suddenly, the words on the sticky notes come rushing into your mind. Lure and capture, Spring Bonnie. You jump out of your chair. That boy needs help. Alright, chat. Movie reference? Yes, I'm glad you caught that. Yeah, I'm glad you guys are catching on to this. This part and the if you try asking for parents for help route, those are direct references to the movie. Are we going to ask parents for help or confront him ourselves? Yeah, it's the scene from the... Oops, I didn't spell that correctly. No, I did. Why was it saying that? Yeah. If you've seen the FNaF 2 movie, you know which answer is correct. I'm assuming everyone here has seen the movie, so... Yeah. For fun, I'll just... if we tried asking the parents for help, we would run up to them, like Charlotte. They ignore us, they think we're just joking. And then we cry and game over. Yes, parents will be rude and dumb. Very true. Same as here too. Alright, let's confront Spring Bonnie ourselves. You figure that by the time you find an adult or parent who can help you, it'll be too late. It would be quicker just to confront Spring Bonnie yourself. You start walking over to the door. You can see a keep out sign next to the door. This is definitely not a place that a boy your age is supposed to be. As you're making your way to the door, you hear kids chasing each other and playing tag. Your vision in the mask is limited, so you turn to get a better look at where they are when, BAM! One of the kids isn't paying attention and runs into you. He sends both of you flying to the ground, with your mask flying off of your head. Before picking himself back up and running away from his friend. You wonder why he didn't check to see if you're okay. Whatever. But then realize a kid his age wouldn't care, so you brush it off. You stand back up and grab the mask. The impact and the fall to the ground broke the strap off, so the mask is broken now. You sigh and throw the mask back onto the ground, as dozens of thoughts come rushing into your mind. I can't do this without the mask. I'm not brave without it. I should just give up and go home. Enough. That mask wasn't the source of your bravery. You were. The mask merely allowed you to tap into that bravery, but it's always been deep inside you. And it still is. Looking up at the metal door, you take a breath in and continue making your way closer. If William used Fredbear instead of Spring Bonnie, would have gotten Fred Trap. You're now standing in front of the metal door. You try pulling it open, but it doesn't budge, and a loud buzzer plays instead, accompanied by a red light shining from the keypad. You look to the side and see a keypad. You look to the side. Yeah. Great, it's locked. You say to yourself under your breath, if only you knew the passcode. Wait! Your mind flashes back to yesterday. You remember the last thing you saw as you were being dragged out of Dad's workshop. It was a series of numbers, 6 of them to be exact. You don't expect it to work, but you punch the numbers into the keypad, just in case. 3, 9, 5, 2, 4, 8. Ding! A green light shines from the keypad as the door opens slowly. It worked! You slowly and carefully pull open the door, being careful not to alert the attention of Spring Bonnie. You step inside and find yourself in a workshop not too different from the one in the basement of your house. Shelves full of animatronic parts line the walls. The tables in the room are covered in papers and sticky notes, just like the desk in Dad's workshop. Around the corner, you hear a whirring noise, as if something is charging up. You crouch down and sneak behind a table. Carefully maneuvering yourself around the other side of the table, you spot Spring Bonnie holding the boy you saw earlier. They're standing in front of a suit, one you recognize from Fall Fest. You wish Mom didn't have to be at Fall Fest today, so she could celebrate your birthday with you. Maybe if she was here with you at the diner, she would be able to help. No time to dwell on that. Right now, you need to focus on saving this boy. You need to find a way to distract Spring Bonnie. But how? Yeah, 395248 is one that I got in my mind. So we do not have the Faz Force figure. We also don't have nothing to use. We have the pacifier, so we're going to use that. Feeling around in your pockets, you pull out the pacifier that was stuck between the couch cushions. You must have forgotten to give it back to your sister after everything that happened yesterday. Thankful you forgot, and a little grossed out it was just sitting in your pocket all day. You throw the pacifier towards the door you came in, hoping to startle Spring Bonnie. It hits the ground with a surprisingly loud thud, loud enough that it catches the attention of Spring Bonnie. The rabbit jerks its head to the side and notices the door you came in from opened a little. Worried someone might come in and ruin his plan, he sets the boy down on the floor in front of the suit and walks over to the door. You covertly make your way over to the boy. He's fast asleep, or at least you hope that's why his eyes are closed and he isn't moving. Using all your strength, you stand him up and wrap his arm around your shoulders. Around your shoulder. Before, you were only concerned with getting to the boy. Now, you have to get both of you out of here alive without getting caught. Sounds easy, right? What'll pacifier do? Maybe you just start sucking on it. I don't know. You hear heavy footsteps approaching from the direction you threw the distraction, and quickly dive to hide behind the table again, bringing the boy with you. Your bodies hit the floor louder than you expected, and you hope Spring Bonnie somehow didn't hear it. You cover your mouth with your hands, hoping he'll lose interest and wander outside the room. This is again meant to parallel the FNaF 2 movie opening. I guess this whole ending is. After waiting for what feels like an eternity, and hearing nothing but the air conditioning coming from the vents in the corners of the room, you figure the coast is clear. You slowly turn your head around the table to see if Spring Bonnie is there. He's not. Turning your head back around to face the boy, you see the towering figure of Spring Bonnie looming over the boy. The rabbit doesn't move, only stares down at you. For some reason, it appears you've stunned the yellow rabbit. Maybe he didn't expect you to stumble upon his master plan, or maybe it's for another reason. Because he's our dad! Regardless, the only thing that matters now is getting the boy out of here safely. With all of your strength and might, you leap up and push Spring Bonnie back. You're surprised he doesn't try to fight back, and figure he must still be in shock for whatever reason. Spring Bonnie stumbles backwards and hits a table. He falls to the ground, landing on his knees. You hear what sounds like dozens of tiny mechanical locks go off as the rabbit starts tensing up and falls on its side. You think you can hear something, or someone, inside the suit cry out in pain, but the adrenaline running through your veins prevents you from being able to fully take in the moment. Like before, you pick up the boy and carry him out. Upon returning to the dining area, you bring him past the stage, as you both collapse to your knees. The families and employees in the diner take notice and come rushing over. That should say gasps. Gasps and whispers can be heard among the crowd, but one voice catches your attention over all the noise. "My baby!" A woman pushes through the crowd and swoops the boy up into her arms. The boy wakes up, dazed and confused. The woman, who you figure must be the boy's mother, holds his face to her head as she mouths the words "thank you" to you before disappearing back into the crowd. Once the mother is gone, the crowd shifts its focus to the room behind you. The employees step forward and enter the room. Once they come back out, they order everyone to evacuate the building and close it down for the night. That night, Dad doesn't come home. Mom says it's because he's working late, but you're suspicious of her answer. After what happened there today, why would he want to be there any longer than he has to be? As you're about to fall asleep for the night, you hear loud knocking at your door. Exhausted, you get up and open the door. Mike stands in the doorway, a look of shock and terror on his face you've never seen before. He grabs you by the hand and pulls you into the living room. Mom is sitting on the couch, hands over her mouth, as a news report plays on the TV. Mike turns the volume up using the remote. Local restaurant owner and co-founder of Fredbear's Family Diner, William Afton, has been arrested and charged with attempted kidnapping and murder following a failed abduction earlier today at the family diner. A picture of Dad is shown on screen. When police arrived on the scene, they found Afton bleeding out in a mascot costume, paralyzed from the waist down. Paramedics arrived on the scene not long after and escorted Afton into an ambulance, where he is being taken to Heracles Hospital for recovery. Once he recovers, he will be sentenced to life in prison with no chance for parole. When questioned on the matter, Afton's partner, Henry Emily, refused to comment. More details coming soon. Mike turns the TV off. Mom is now quietly crying. Mike goes over to comfort her, and you join in too. The next few weeks feel like a blur. The police interview you for details on the case, and you tell them everything. From the event you think you saw that started this whole mess, to the sticky notes in the basement. The house is taken from your family, as the police deemed it evidence, so your family is forced to move in with Mom's family. Mom herself became even more cold and distant, more so than she was before. You figure learning her husband was a deranged serial killer must have done a number on her mental health. Luckily, you and Mike were there to help out. And Mike even got a part-time job at a local dry cleaners to help pitch in. Meanwhile, you offered to stay at home and miss days of school here and there to look after your sister. It was hard work, but it was perfect. Dad and Uncle Henry's restaurant closed permanently. You aren't sure what happened to Uncle Hen and his Henry and his family, but you heard from Mike that they ended up moving north. You feel bad for them, but part of you wonders how much Uncle Hen was keeping from you about Dad the whole time. Years pass, and the events of your 7th birthday are slowly fading away, as every tragedy should. The damage has been done, but your family has recovered the best they could. One day, you find yourself going through a box of items from your old house. Old clothes, drawings, and other trinkets are all covered in dust. But at the bottom of the box, you find something you haven't seen in years. Your Fredbear plushie. His eyes are pure black, and dust has turned him into a dirty yellow. You stare at him for a while, painful memories flooding your brain. Memories of a time when you were a scared little boy who would always be bullied by his cruel older brother. But things are different now. Time has healed those wounds, and you and Mike are completely different people now. You chuckle to yourself before throwing the plushie into the garbage. You're grateful that tomorrow is another day. The end. Henry and his Henry. Heracles. Heracles? Is it Heracles Hospital? I don't know. Why is Mary shocked if the prior scene implies she knew? I don't think it. No. So I'm assuming the What's it called? I'm assuming you're talking about this paragraph where mom says it's because he's working late, but you're suspicious of her answer. That line to me doesn't imply that she knew what was going on at all. To me, that's just her saying that so she can comfort her son. Obviously, she wouldn't want to say, "Oh, I don't know, son. Your father's just gone." She wouldn't want to say that. She would just make up an excuse to, keep bite victim at ease. Henry and his Henry. Thank you, guys. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I really like this ending. I think it is like the best ending the Aftons could ever have. Michael and Bite Victim have made up. William is out of the picture. Fredbear's is closed. Freddy's closes. Henry and his family go north. It's the best ending that they could have. It's a really... It's more bittersweet than anything. Also, it's raining now. It's bittersweet because, the damage has been done. They'll never be able to forget William. Maybe Elizabeth because she's just a baby. But, Mrs. Afton has been forever traumatized. Same with, Mike and Bite Victim. But they still try to move on from the event. So, I really like this ending. Yeah. Let's stop the music. Let's go full screen. That was the book. All right, let's see how many dashes Party Hat counted. God, I have to get a pencil for this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. I counted 36. That might be wrong. That's a lot of giggles. Yeah, I mean, it's obviously not a perfect ending. Mimic is still out there. Maybe if you believe Charlie first, then Charlie's still dead, but that's not what I believe. So yeah, I think the only possible story you could go from there is Mimic shenanigans. But yeah, I like that ending. I think it's very sweet. That whole route as a whole really is really impactful, and I think we did great with that, honestly. What's it called? Yeah, from Michael and Bite Victim making up, to Bite Victim making friends, to him realizing that he doesn't need a mask for strength. He just, he had that strength in him the whole time, and it takes the mask to get it out of him. But he comes out of this, also you can probably hear the rain now, he comes out of this stronger and braver, and he saves a child's life. And his family lives semi-happily ever after. Mimicking. It is a very sweet ending. I'm glad you guys liked it. Alright, now that we've read through most of the book, feedback. So, like I said 3 hours ago, Jesus, I'm going to release this to the world in PDF form after the stream. Is there anything you guys think I should change? Maybe not anything too big, whole roots, but if there's any moments that you think need clarification, mistakes, plot holes, anything like that, let me know. Just so I can get those fixed before we send this thing out. I know it's been a long stream, and I don't want to keep you guys waiting any longer. This is by far the longest stream we've ever done. Oh, that's a long time. The Jackos. I'm trying to think. I don't know where we would be able to fit those in, to be honest. Yeah, no, Nightmarion, that's fair. Mimics Arnold. Whenever he does that in the Fall Fest DLC, it's gonna break our hearts. Thank you, Moon. Thank you. Thank you, Party Hat. Thank you. Yeah. I don't know. If I had to change anything, I would probably add more choices to a few areas and add more items, but as a whole, I'm very happy with this. I think me and BJ, especially BJ, cooked very hard with this. So, if that's all, then I'm gonna finally end stream. It's been 3 hours! 3 hours! Oh my god. Can we talk about that? Some of you guys have been here for 3 hours. Thank you. That's insane. Insane. I'll see where I can squeeze the Jackos in. I'll see where I can squeeze them in. It would probably be like, if I were to include the Jacko animatronics, I would probably just mention them as, like, suits used at Fall Fest for Halloween. Like, I'll show you where I'm thinking of putting them. It would be in, like, that part where... Oh, where is it? It's talking about Halloween. Oh my god, where is it? It would be where he's talking about Halloween. Yeah, right here. It would be here. You always thought it was weird, born on the spookiest day of the month. Yeah, it would be like around here. The restaurant stays open for the pop. It does great. Like, it would probably be like plus... plus... They tend to... I'm trying to think of how to word this. I want it to be like the Jacko animatronics are only characters used on Halloween. Plus, they tend to bring out the exclusive Jacko characters for this day only, which helps add to the what's it called? For this day only, which helps add to the experience? It's not experience. They tend to bring out the exclusive Jacko characters for this day only, which helps add to the... Oh, there's a word I'm thinking of. It's like experience, but like... Hang on. We're doing the ancient method. Experience, synonym. What are some synonyms for this? Which adds to the... Oh, none of these are what I'm looking for. We'll just say experience, which helps add to the experience. There we go. Nightmarion, I'm sorry I forgot about that, but now it's in there. It's in there now. I got you. Aesthetic, that could work. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. I did not spell that correctly at all. Yeah, I like that. Plus, they tend to bring out the exclusive Jacko characters for this day only, which helps add to the aesthetic. Yeah, that works. That works. Now we're done. Now we're done. Alright. I'll post this on my socials. You can see a duck basket behind me and the wall of FNaF figures. I'll make a YouTube community post too, in case you guys want to read it for yourselves. Don't feel inclined to read it, because we just read through it for 3 hours, so if you want to check it out, it would be cool. Any feedback, obviously let me know. I'll go in and change that. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll let you say bye to yourselves. Yeah. Nope, not what I wanted to do. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. I'll see you in the next stream or video. Probably going to be a short, actually. I am working on editing a YouTube short talking about one of the most silly FNaF theories, Flower Aftons. That's going to come out soon, I hope. Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye Moon, bye Party Hat, bye Nemarion. Thank you guys for sticking with it. Bye, guys. Peace. 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 Peace.